want to be a winner, not only have to understand how to win, but to understand how to consistently win.
We're the freaking New York Jets, and we're built for this shit.
That's our brand of football. If you want to be a winner, not only have to understand how to win, but to understand how to consistently win.
We're the freaking New York Jets, and we're built for this shit.
That's our brand of football.
Jets, Jets. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another very special edition of the Nick Shine Show. Our guest, NFL legend, NFL icon, Connie Carberg, is with us. I don't want to delay. Text your friends, share the link. This is the place to be tonight. The Knicks, they got the day off. So enjoy the day off with this Nick and Connie. We'll be right back. You know how we start this. It's time for some Blitz BK. Oh, we got change. Oh, we made some changes here in StreamYard. And here we go.
Get ready for this All Jets Pro. Get ready for this all-time host. Get ready on your mark, set, go. Get ready, this is Nick Shine Show. Green and white nights, here the city locked in. Let's walk, Jets talk, another season with friends, another season with Glenn. I hope to see some more wins. I'm so seasoned with the pen, I hope we season the fins. We see brief, quick spins, release the beast from within. 20 shining like Nick, you know we gotta call in. You can make a couple Jets points, jokes in your spins, give away a couple memberships. If you ball in, he got gives away some deaths, plus his tunes are the best. Gives you plenty time to talk how to improve on these Jets. Win or lose, we don't sweat, we don't boo on these vets. Ain't no booze for this vet, but we boo on the press, and then move on to the next. Every year, June to June, we talk New York Jets. This is Nick Shine time, this is New York's best. Might have lost his big toe, but never lost his breath, and never lost his step, never.
Here we go, baby.
J-E-T-S, Jets, let's go, baby.
Get ready for this All Jets Pro. Get ready for this all-time host. Get ready on your mark, set, go. Get ready, this the Nick Shine Show.
Awesome work by Blitz BK, as always. Now, with Connie being here, and Connie being so influential with our New York Jets drafting Mark Gastineau, we had to get an autographed Mark Gastineau jersey to raffle away today. So during this show, and this show only, a special prize for tonight, any gifted memberships, any super chats, $5 and up, get you on the wheel. We'll give that away later on. And ladies and gentlemen, our leader in the clubhouse, Phil Hannon, already gifted one that went to John Michelle. Thank you, Phil. I appreciate you. Thanks for watching. Now, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. And before we bring our guest in, we did this with Wesley, and shout out to official announcement, show producer, Cisco Lopez. Welcome aboard. We had to make another video, and Cisco's been very hard at work in the lab, and this is what we got. We're going to watch this song and video for Connie, and then we'll bring her in. And Cisco uploaded this. I've never seen this. I told him I want to watch it live on air for the first time to get my natural reaction, and then we'll bring in Connie right after.
Young Connie, Connie remains, then some people leave records, some people leave trophies. Connie Carberg left a pet.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Connie Carberg to the program. Connie, I loved watching you watch that in the back.
Oh, it's unbelievable. I've never had anything like that. It just shocks me. It really does. And you know, when you see yourself like that, I never saw myself that way. It's something, but the words to the song were that I love the game. And then,
Yeah,
you know, and that's what I thought was so good, the way they portrayed that part. But, and just so many years. So I don't know what to say.
well, you deserve, I mean, that's a little bit of all the praise and the accolades that you deserve for the trailblazer, the icon that you are. And I know you're very humble, and I know you're going to shake your head at me, but I don't lie to my friends, Connie, and we're friends now, so I'm never going to lie to you.
Okay.
And you're epic. You're on a level of your own, and what you did, not just with becoming part of the Jets and what you've done for this fan base, what you've done for women and what you did with leading that path is pretty tremendous. What was that like in having to break that ground? And what was that like with trying to be the first in a field that women just were never in?
Yeah, we have to go back quite a few years, because I grew up in the 60s. And during that time, you know, football was the Jets' golden years, of course, with Super Bowl III when I was a high school senior. But my father and my uncle became the two team doctors. And I didn't know anything about football. I knew other sports and played them all. But back then, really, women weren't there were no women in football doing anything at that point. And I did not foresee where my path was taking me. You know, I think a lot of us don't know where we're going to be.
Yeah.
You just kind of follow this path. So what I did was I just started when I was 16 holding my own mock drafts. I don't even understand why, because back there was just one game on a week with Keith Jackson. There was Street and Smith magazine. And other than that, you know, and Bob Hope had an all-American show where the guys ran out and he made different comments and things.
Yeah.
And that's when I just started developing, plus knowing all the Jets. And so they were always at the house, plus Walt Michaels, who was the defensive coordinator. He was really good friends with my dad, taught me a lot. I had an earth science teacher that I would stay after school and grade papers, but he would teach me football, and he came to the games, he and his wife, with my family all through the years with the Jets, because my father had 17 tickets that he would buy to go to the games. And then we go to dinner at the Diamond Club. For those that remember Shea Stadium way back then, it was just real family. It was awesome. But not knowing, again, I went to an all-girls college. I played basketball. There was no such thing as girls scholarships back then. But there was something missing. And so I transferred to The Ohio State University. And that was probably the big turning point, because of meeting Coach Woody Hayes and him and his belief in me before I even got to the Jets. But I also want to say, you know, the Jets get criticized for so many things.
A little bit.
Okay. But they had the courage to do this they didn't make a big fuss about it. This was not like, oh, let's put, you know, Connie in big headlines. Nothing like that. Thank goodness Dick Young, who was a writer and a very well known writer back then, put it in the paper. And then when I went out to scout, they did an article, because it just, you know, it wasn't done that way. The Jets, and this was all male back then. And they, as I said, I was very blessed that they respected me, and they thought I really knew my stuff. And I didn't know any better. I honestly didn't know any better. You know, ignorance is bliss at times, that you don't think anything. So it just all flowed. And it was something, as I said, to this day, I still do it. You know, a lot of different things. I just did a scout school type of thing, even just sitting in on it. Phil Savage, who had been a scout with the Jets for many years now, he's with the Rams. And it was great. He has all these aspiring young people that are trying to get into scouting, and it was wonderful. And in fact, one of his guests was Mel Kiper, who I love, and he's great.
Yeah, he's great. Now, I have a question for you. Nowadays, it's so easy for us to do mock drafts. What was it like doing a mock draft back then? What did you have? Like Sporting News, the newspapers? Like, how did you do a mock draft back then?
Street and Smith magazine. If you go just Google Street and Smith and you see the cover, just like they have Lindy's, they still have a few magazines left like that, where they would write up the players. And then I would watch the game of the week. And so, as I said, sometimes, a lot of times, Coach Michaels was over at the house when Riggins was playing and different people, and he would explain to me what to look for. Because girls we didn't have flag football, we didn't play football, but it just became such a passion. Then watching the Jets every day. For 62 years now, I've been going to training camps. This will be my 62nd year, and just learning that. But I did it just on a piece of paper. The Mad Stork, Ted Hendricks, and then Ron Yary. Those guys in my own mock draft I hit on. Then I went and took a Garrett Ford out of West Virginia, and he was a complete bust. So I realized then, if you hit on 40%, you're doing really well in scouting. It's not, to this day, it's not an exact science. And we didn't have computers.
Yeah.
It was done very differently. Everything was with hand, everything. There were no cell phones. So when you wanted to reach players or schools, you had to search. Again, a very different time.
Well, I had the honor of meeting you at your 60th training camp. On one of the hottest days ever. This was the green and white scrimmage with Aaron Rodgers, and it was 110 degrees. It felt like it was absolutely awful. And I've lost about 100 pounds since this photo. So I said to Cisco, the producer, I'm like, we need to change that image. So there's me reviewing that.
Isn't that amazing? That's wonderful. Congratulations. But that's so great. I know. That's wonderful.
Yeah. I hate that picture. I like the beard is just going crazy with the heat and the humidity in Florham Park that morning. It was bad that day. I'm telling you, I live in Florida now, in the Orlando area. And that's what it felt like. I felt just like being in Florida. Yeah, that was a really rough day. Again, folks, if you have any questions for Connie, submit them in super chats. Hit the like button. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Well, we got a couple big names in the chat, Connie. First one I want to get to. It's someone I've just connected with this week that you know very well. Kelly Gastineau Roush is here. She says Connie is the absolute best. Me and her spoke the other day, and she's been very complimentary and said how much she loves you and said that I have to give you her love. So here she is giving it to you firsthand.
That is so neat. And Kelly and I, she was with Mark all the time growing up as his sister. She was Mark Gastineau's sister. And just fantastic. We hit it off right away. And again, when he went into the Ring of Honor in 2012 with Wesley, they both went in together. And she and they invited me because I drafted him, and we've always gotten along. And her husband runs a kicking school right now because he was a punter and everything with Arizona State. So as I said, we've kept in touch, and I feel very blessed. She's wonderful. Her daughter just got married. Everything's just great people, really great people.
Yeah, they really are. I met Mark in 2006 at Poor Billy's in Woodbridge. Used to do a draft party, and I met Mark and Brandon Moore at the same draft party. They were there.
Isn't that so amazing? Yeah. When you go back so far, and I loved, of course, I love Jets history. Most of the young players today would have very little idea of whose number they're wearing or what was important about it. As I said, if I was working with the team, I would take a day if I had to, and kind of give them a history, show them the players that made the difference, what years were good, what years were bad, just to give them some kind of idea. So when they meet somebody, it has some kind of meaning to them, because we did have some good years.
Yeah, so, we did. We just couldn't get over the top. Whenever Chad was healthy, we were a playoff team. There was times in the 80s where the team was really good. I became a fan, as you know, from watching last week with Wesley. My first game was the Wesley walk-off game against Miami. I missed kind of the Richard Todd. Like I was born in 78, so I'm sure the game was on with my father and my grandfather and my uncle, but I don't know. I was just probably making noise, getting yelled at to shut up during the game at the time.
But I know it was so great when you had Wesley. Wesley is one of I remember from the day he was drafted and came in. As I said, nobody knew that he was blind. He memorized the eye chart. He's a super smart guy. He went to Cal Berkeley, just a wonderful, giving person. And we've hit it off forever. since then. We still stay in touch, as I said, all the time. And what a beautiful receiver. What a beautiful, I don't know. I still to this day don't know how he catches the ball because I only have one eye. So we bonded over that too. This is a fake eye.
Oh, really?
And,
I didn't know.
Yeah, I had a detached retina back in 1995 and they couldn't fix it. And luckily they fixed this one when it happened, but the other one, because I don't want to go blind, so I can't watch football, So I got the one working for me. But Wesley and I, right away, that was a bond that we had. And you don't have depth perception.
Yeah.
Real well. So it's very easy like to trip and not see a step up or a step down. Yeah. So as I said, it's totally amazing that how he could catch that ball over the shoulders and everything else. But he was great that whole year. To me, that's still probably the best draft. 2022. And I say, 2000, but we had 4 number 1 picks. So that's a little bit different.
Yeah.
But 1977, when you had Marvin Powell as number 1 All-Pro and Wesley Walker, and you had Joe Klecko, and you had Matt Robinson, who was a good quarterback for quite a while. You had Scott Durking at running back, Kevin Long, Dan Alexander, who was 10 years an starting offensive lineman for us. And that was all with a gentleman named Mike Holovac, who to me, again, was a mentor for me. He had played at Boston College and he coached the Patriots back in the early 60s. A wonderful man, but I learned a lot from him.
Yeah, that's we got a couple more questions for you. That draft class is remarkable. Again, a little before my time, but when you're looking at some of the better draft classes, you mentioned them, 2000 with the ones, and we'll get more into the current team, but I think a lot of fans are hoping that this one this year could be one of those that are talked about as an all-timer. We need it. We need it, but we'll get more into the current team later. Cisco Lopez, the show producer who made the video for you, has a question. Says, Connie, when you first watched Mark Gastineau, what did everybody else miss that you saw?
Well, he was from a small school. And back in those days, again, you didn't have computers, you didn't have, so everybody's traveling all over and you're trying to find people, but it's not like now where guys have transfer portals and all this stuff and they can be found anywhere. And he did start out at Arizona State. He and Frank Kush did not see eye to eye on certain things. And Mark is a small town boy at heart and the way he was. So he went to East Central Oklahoma. And again, you probably hear thunder here. It's thundering, but it's unbelievable. So I hope you don't lose me.
Central Florida in the summer, it'll get wild.
It's unbelievable.
Don't even say that. Everyone say a prayer right now.
Okay, right. So Mark, as I said, he had people come and time him, but a lot of times you don't even believe that he ran the 4.55 and the 40, at 6.5 and 280. But he wasn't really, as I said, some people saw him, but it wasn't like you knew Marty Lyons from Alabama. Yeah. You knew Fred Smirlis from Boston College. You knew all these different guys that were down at the Senior Bowl already. They were definite number 1 draft picks. Yeah. He wasn't. He was probably somewhere going to be drafted between 4 and 7. And in those days there were 12 rounds. When I started, there were 17, and it went to 12, and now we only have 7 rounds. So, but when my thing is I love people with passion, with heart. Measurables are awesome. There's no question about it, but there's a lot of people that don't have all the measurables that make it in the NFL because they love the game, because they are game performers versus practice performers. There's lots of different reasons. Maybe they weren't the right school or the right scheme. Yeah. And you see how many to this day fail and how many make it. And it's getting harder and harder to tell what's going to happen, because to me, it's all in the heart. That's the way I feel.
Well, let me ask you a question with that. Nowadays, everyone's on YouTube. Everyone's got their highlight reels. What's that like scouting a small school player back in the 70s? Very hard to find. As I said, everything was word of mouth, or somebody that they went to some small schools, but you didn't have to. You didn't have all the just all the things that you have at your disposal now. Yeah. And like you said, to be able to Google a name and to go to YouTube, to look at people. You don't even have to travel anymore if you're a scout. You got everything right in front of you from a computer.
Exactly. And they say the film doesn't lie. So a lot of people are doing that. In fact, like the Rams don't send their people to the combine and different things. Every team has their own style of doing things. And if you're a success, you just, you keep doing it. Some teams value character a lot more than others. We knew back in the 60s, the Raiders didn't value character at all. The Jets did, kind of thing. And they were the big rivalry before the Dolphins and Jets became the rivalry in the Wesley Walker, Kenny O'Brien sack exchange years. And then the Patriots became the rival once it was Tom. It kind of switches.
It has. And right now, the Jets fans are the biggest rival of the Jets. It seems to be
most loyal.
It's a never-ending battle.
Most loyal fans in the world, and
we're always in the top three. It's a feud that never ends. Hopefully, the feuding stops, and we can have celebrations in a peaceful manner, unlike the other team in New York right now. But hopefully, we can have peaceful celebrations, and everyone's just crying and embracing one another.
Yeah, let them make the news like they've been making it. We've been nice and quiet. And all that kind of stuff. So we'll see what happens. I like some of the moves they made. I'm sure, as you say, we'll talk about things later. But as I said, it was different back then. So just even trying to find out about players, even to locate them, and then again, the Jets don't get credit for a lot of things. But I'll tell you what they did after they drafted Marvin. And I think Wesley mentioned this. The year that they drafted 77, both Marvin Powell had a loose knee and Wesley had missed most of his senior year.
Yeah.
And we drafted them because Wesley would have been a first rounder. And we drafted them, 1-2. When they came in and they found out that, Wesley was blind in one eye, had this injury, Marvin had the loose knee, and my uncle was the orthopedist and stuff. So then Mr. Hess, Leon Hess, who was one of, the main owner back then, he said, we're not going to have that happen anymore. We just can't take chances as we keep going forward. So the next year they brought in about 100. It's the first team to do it. They brought in about 100 players. They had them all come in. And first of all, we had to locate them all because you didn't have cell phones, and bring them and get all the arrangements, and then send them into Lenox Hill Hospital in the city. And then my uncle and my dad and my cousin, Stephen, who's Uncle Jimmy's son, and then the other residents, they're going to examine them all. And when they did that, plus we interviewed, which I love doing, and which they still do to this day. The interview of the player is very important, and what he thinks. And back then, a lot of players didn't want to go to New York because it was a big city. And again, they were from a small little farm or something like that. It was, and you want to find that out if it's too much for them. Yeah. Or maybe they're going to.
How do you do that?
Just by
give us a little peek behind the curtain. Yeah, how do you find out? What is your pathway in the interview to find out? And what would you see or hear from someone that says, oh, no, that we can't?
Yeah, I would, as I said, I would sit down, talk with them and hear about their backgrounds. They would tell me about their family, how they grew up, where they used to tons of land and farm and everything laid back and fishing and, that kind of thing. Because New York City just seemed monumental. Remember, we weren't in New Jersey. Long Island was the Jets base, and Brooklyn and Staten Island and Queens. And then we were at Hofstra when I was working there. So those were the real Jet fans. And we didn't go to New Jersey until about 2008, I think. So you just want to talk to them, find out how that seems to be. And what do they think about that kind of thing? And then, how much they love football. I know it sounds strange, but also do they have dental, maybe going to dental school? They had a lot of different options. Then you start to say, is football that important to them? Or is this their way out? And they are really hungry, because remember, players didn't make a lot back then, and compared to what they make now. Yeah. So you want to find, that was the other part. You want to find out what really makes them tick. What are they really into? And also, do they get along with people? And, are they captains? Anything along those lines that can give you a little clue to the person. We didn't have to worry about transfer portals or anything like that. So, it was very different.
One of our mutual friends and one of the crazy Knicks fans I was mentioning before, Jake Asman, member of the channel for 18 months. Jake says, Connie is truly one of the sweetest, kindest people you'll ever meet. Her warmth and heart are unmatched. Go Jets.
Jake's been awesome. I've followed Jake for a long time and met him in many places and watched him build. How he started small and just to see his growth. and then see him, on other, ESPN, on the radio stations, and all that he's doing. And he really loves the Jets. I mean, he really does. Everything he does is
he's not a big fan of safety though, because he's been to the Garden several times during this playoff run. So he doesn't value his own personal well-being.
Sorry, but I do. I think the world of Jake. He's, again, one of my favorite people, and I really respect his opinion. Yeah, and what he says. And he's really one of the forerunners of all the stuff with the podcasting thing.
Absolutely. I've learned a lot from him, and I'm honored to call him a friend.
Yes, and
you as well.
He shares. And I love what you guys do. You all share with one another, which I think is really neat too. It's not like this is my territory, you can't come near me, and kind of thing. I think we all have that common bond, and everybody is trying to help each other.
We relate to one another, right? Yes. I always say we all have PTJD. We have post-traumatic jet disorder. Like, I don't know. I wasn't with everybody when we lost in Pittsburgh, but I know how everyone feels. I wasn't with everyone when Vinny went down or A-Rod went down, but I know how we feel. We have a bond because this fan base has been through so much.
Yes.
We get it. And we get pointed at, we get laughed at, but you know what? I think it makes us stronger as a fan base. And when this team does turn the corner and this team does start winning again, it's going to be the biggest payoff we've ever had. I can't wait for it.
You see what happened with the Knicks and everything, right? When that when that thing explodes, it's going to be just totally unreal. As I say, like you said, we had some really, those years from 1998 to 2011 between, when Parcells came in, and then we had Herm, and whenever Pennington was healthy, which he took us to the playoffs 3 times, and then of course with Rex going to the AFC Championship twice, we had those. The 80s team was really, and those guys I love when they come by, and I stay in touch with all of them. When I was working at the Jets through the 70s, that was kind of after the Super Bowl. Those were tough times. I think the best we were was 500. Most of the time we were,
that was a rough run.
Yeah, it was. So, there's some dry patches, just like we're hitting right now. If we had beaten Buffalo up in Buffalo, and everybody was like so sure we were going to win that game, history would have changed completely.
Yeah. I had my arms around my kids who were I was 15, so Sophia just turned 5. Aww. And Nick was 7. And we were at a Chili's watching that game when Fitzpatrick threw the interceptions, and I put my arms around them. I was like, guys, don't worry. I go, we'll be back next year. Like, we're close.
I know we're close.
My kids bring that up to me all the time. Like, remember the biggest lie Daddy ever told us? He said the Jets would be back, and they haven't had a winning season since.
I know it is hard because I want my son to go through it, and to experience. I want all Jet fans to be, even if it was only once that one time. But I was being a high school senior, after being in high school, and people would say, what's wrong with your Jets? And of course, it was the AFL, which had no respect, and the Giants were the king. And that's to this day why I despise the Giants so much. It's ingrained in me only because they were the big bad NFL, and the Jets were the upstart. And they looked down. Everybody thought we were nothing. And so then we win the Super Bowl, which was unbelievable after the record that they had. And they just won 34-0 in their NFL championship game with Earl Morrall and everything. And then, but the biggest thing was we played, and it was preseason. But back then, guys played 6 preseason games, and they all played. Yeah. And so they played in that. It was at the Yale Bowl against the Giants. And Namath and Billy Mathis and all the different guys all said that was the icing on the cake, or probably even more important to them at that point, because that meant they really owned New York. And then Allie Sherman got fired because of it. So it was that was a very big year. And that was the same year that, the Knicks and the Mets, it was quite a year, the 69 time and 68 season. And then 69.
Let's hope 26 can turn into something. You get the Knicks, you get the Yankees, you get the Jets. Let's turn it on.
Wouldn't that be nice? Oh,
You know what? If I got to watch Knicks fans celebrate in order for the Yankees and Jets to win one, sign me up. And I'll add in the North Carolina Tar Heel basketball and Georgia football. I'll take 4. I'll take all 4. Yeah. I was close in 2009 because the Tar Heels won and the Yankees won. And then the Jets made the AFC Championship. I was close to a great fan year.
Yeah.
But.
Oh, I know. I always feel like, oh, are we going to do it? You want so much. And you feel when when you meet the guys and you know them and everything else, and it hurts even more. And you just want it somehow. We get our hopes up, and we were so excited with Aaron Rodgers, right? And then, and everything that whole summer that was so built up. It was unbelievable. And then boom, 4 plays in. I mean, it was just.
I didn't even get in the stadium. I was waiting for ticket prices to come down. They were at $300. And I'm like, all right, I'll wait till like the end of the first quarter. Oh, and then I'm outside the stadium and I'm looking up and I go to say to this guy, we're watching on the crappy monitors that they had. They upgraded the monitors now that the World Cup is there, but they had like grainy, horrible monitors. And the guy goes, what happened? I go, I don't know. Why is Zach Wilson in? And then all of a sudden the messages started coming in on the phone. And then I just went to the Uber lot to get an Uber home. I didn't even buy a ticket to go in the stadium. So I never even got in for the opener.
Really,
that's the Jets. That's what they do to you. They get you to the brink of excitement and then they push you off a cliff.
It's so hard. But
it's happened many times.
I know it has. And as I said, we had, that great the 2022 draft, which was so good. We had the offensive rookie of the year in Garrett, the defensive rookie of the year in Sauce, and I love Jermaine. And if he hadn't gotten hurt and stuff, but I know he fits more back with Salah's, group down there. But, we have Max Mitchell, we had Jeremy Ruckert. And of course, Breece Hall. Like, how could I ever forget Breece? And so I love Breece. And so, as I said, that was quite a draft. And he was the first running back taken. That was in the second round.
He was. And then we traded up with the Giants, I believe, to take him at 35, right? We were at 38. I think we bumped up to 35 to get him.
I'm so happy. I am so glad. I was so happy when they, re-signed him.
Yeah.
Very much so, because I really like him. And I'm hoping, I think with Frank Reich, we'll use him more the way they always say they're going to do out of the back, because he's such a good receiver. And once you get him out in space, he's fun.
I would say that with Frank Reich coming in, utilization of running backs, like not having Braylon Allen return kicks, which he joked about with the media. I'll do whatever the team asks me. Just hopefully they don't ask me to do that anymore. I was down in Miami for that. I'm like, why is he back there? And then I'm like, why is he down? I'm like, oh, come on.
240 pounds and you're having him run back. That was the only one, I usually don't question things a lot, but that one really hurt because to me, it was almost like unnecessary. And it was
desperation. Yeah. It was a coach on the brink of desperation and they were trying anything, Antonio Cromartie in Indy in the playoff game makes sense. The guy's elite with the ball in his hands. You give him an opportunity, and he changed the game for us with the return, but not week 3, not in Miami, not with the guy who you wanted to have a power running attack, and then you took that away.
And he's more of a straight ahead guy, whereas Cromartie can move and being a defensive back and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, he can. Even he was much more lanky and long and type of thing. So as I said, I know that one really hurt. And I love seeing him being in shape, and I just pray that he stays healthy. That's the name of the game though too, is the health wise, because when you go to the Super Bowl and you look at them, you saw what happened when they lose Bo Nix, the Denver Broncos. Okay. But if you can stay healthy, it just changes everything. And it's real. Or, if you get hurt, maybe in the beginning of the year and they get back in time for the playoffs or around late in the season. And that's, we just have.
Excuse me real quick. I'm a Jet fan. Let me Google what playoffs are. Okay. Couple things to catch up here with. We're joined by Connie Carberg. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Again, Connie was so influential in the Jets picking Mark Gastineau. We have an autographed Gastineau jersey we're giving away at the end of tonight's show. It's just for tonight. No week long, no month long. $5 super chats and up get you on the wheel. Gifted memberships get you on the wheel. We got a couple to catch up with. Derek, the Kansas City Jet fan, gifted a membership. That went to Charles Gorman. And Charles Gorman with a super chat earlier said, hey, buddy, I'm glad you're feeling better. Thank you, Charles. I'm also so proud of you, as well as happy for you in regards to how much your awesome YouTube show has evolved. Thank you, Charles. I appreciate that. You're the man, buddy. And good luck to you in tonight's raffle. Cisco with another question for you. Did you know Wesley Walker could become special despite the concerns about his eyesight?
Well, we knew from playing and his quarterbacks, he had Steve Bartkowski, who became a number 1 pick, right? And back in it's before your time, I know, but he was a really good big quarterback. And they also had a guy named Joe Roth, who he loved so much, but Joe Roth got melanoma, got cancer,
Oh.
and he played with it. Didn't tell anybody the whole year, and then he passed away afterwards. And they have at the Hula Bowl, they always have the Joe Roth Award. In fact, that's what Mark Gastineau won it this year down at the Hula Bowl, and they brought him down for it. For getting that, for courage and just working hard and overcoming different things. And so so Wesley, though, beforehand, as I said, with Mike Hollowback as my boss, yes, I've seen Mike's notes and everything about this kid can do everything. He is, he's got the hands, he's got the speed, he's graceful, he can be everything. And so we really knew he was, but then as I said, he got the injury the senior year, and but thank goodness, I'm so glad we did end up drafting him. He was
absolutely
amazing, on top of being a great person.
I probably would have been a 49er fan, because the 49ers and with Joe Montana, I was leaning that route. I had a 49er jacket.
Did you?
Yeah, I did. It was one of those jackets that were animated and had the coal miner on the back. The whole back was like a starter jacket. And I had that, but then my grandfather took me to that game, and I was just like, "That's it. I'm a Jet fan."
Where were you from?
Woodbridge. I grew up in Islam.
Okay. So what would have made you go for the 49ers?
I just love Joe Montana. I thought Joe Montana was the coolest thing. I just thought Joe Montana was.
Yes.
I still, to this day, I will fist fight people over if anyone has anyone ahead of Joe Montana.
In fact,
I use the Jordan argument. You don't get to the championship and never lose. If you're the greatest, you never lose on the biggest stage.
No. And I was watching the other day on on NFL Network, which is now owned by ESPN, but they were running it. I love. Sometimes they run games from a year or two ago, but I love when they do the older games. So they were doing, they were having with with Montana at quarterback, and just all these familiar names that we, grew up with. And it was kind of neat to watch him again. Sometimes you forget how good they were. Like, I always think that John Elway gets forgotten sometimes too, how good he was.
Yeah. And that's when you could literally beat the crap out of a quarterback.
Yes, exactly.
Like, you put on a game for, say, a teenager now, and show them the game in the 70s or the 80s with how the quarterbacks got hit. These kids, their eyes are going to bug out of their head like a cartoon character, because it was horrible, the beatings that they took. They're guys who get knocked out. What they do? They do the smelling salts, and you're back in the game.
They didn't know. Like, my dad was the internist, so when these concussion things, they were still learning a lot about concussions. It was something, in the 60s. And early 70s, they really didn't know a lot of stuff. So it's something you start to do. And I remember my father telling me the story of this player got a concussion. He came to the sideline, and Pop went over to him. He asked him questions, checked him out, all this kind of stuff. Right now, my maiden name is Nicholas. Okay, just remember it.
Good name. I like it.
Okay, so Nicholas. Okay, that was before I got married. So, Pop walked away from him for a few minutes. He said, "Just wait a few minutes." So we had him wait. Then he walked over to him again, and he said the guy started singing Jingle Bells. And all of a sudden, Pop realized, he thought, Nicholas, Santa Claus, and he started singing Jingle Bells. So Pop said, "Oh, no, you can't go back in." So sometimes with a concussion, he realized that it took a while.
Yeah,
you don't always know. Right then, they seem like they're fine. So there was a lot to learn about it, and they didn't know all the stuff. It wasn't like, and in fact, when both my uncle and my father started with the Titans, who became the Jets, there was not even a doctor on the visiting sideline, and that's why my uncle asked my father to join, so there would be a doctor on the other sideline. So you can imagine now, you see the staffs people have and everything else. Back then. Yeah. Back then, you had a team dentist, a team doctor, a trainer, and that was it.
Wow. Now you got a whole team. I mean, it looks like MASH out there on the sidelines now. Somebody goes into the blue tent. There's 10 people scrambling in there. How they fit them all in there?
It's amazing. Well, we won the Super Bowl too. You had Weeb Eubank, and he had 4 assistant coaches, 2 on offense, 2 on defense. Now you have 21 to 24 assistant coaches. Wow. And now, of course, they had a few less players. I think it was like 43 instead of 53. But still, it's an amazing thing when you think about it. And Walt Michaels was the defensive coordinator. Buddy Ryan coached the defensive line, And then you had the two, then you had the two offensive coaches along with Weeb, who was very good with offense. He found with Johnny Unitas, and then Joe.
Question here from John Bogo. John, member of the channel for 19 months, says, Connie, you're a Jets icon and a fan favorite. Which Jets player did you scout or evaluate that exceeded expectations the most?
Boy, I have to go back and think, but I would say even of course, Mark was. I didn't get to see as much film on Mark, but I would say he passed. I wanted to draft him and pass, but his name was Joe Delaney. He was a running back for the Kansas City Chiefs, and I was hoping we would draft. But that year we took Freeman McNeil, which was a great pick in the first round. And then second round, we took, actually, just believe this, we took two running backs, first and second round. Marion Barber, it was a second round pick. You wouldn't do that in today's game at all. Yeah. So, but I didn't know, and then he ended up being rookie of the year. Delaney, I was watching, I thought he was good and everything, but he turned out to be so much better. And then the poor guy, he tried saving some kids' lives. He saved one, but then he drowned because he couldn't swim. And there's always that story with the Chiefs, but he always stuck out as far as that was concerned. As I said, I'd have to go back and look at all my, film studies. When I was doing the University of Pittsburgh, they had the 1 year they had Ricky Jackson, Hugh Green, Matt Cavanaugh, Tony Dorsett. I mean, you can go all through. So I thought they would be good, but I didn't know that Hugh Green was going to be as good as he was. As I said, so there's guys that I was a big believer in Zach Thomas. That one I was, even though he was short and he went in the fifth round, but he just had no neck. So he was like this. So he would have been, if he had a neck, he would be 3 inches taller. But he was just, he was a tackling machine. So as I said, if I go through them all, it's there were a lot of guys that made it bigger, or guys that I ended up, that I liked that as quarterbacks and stuff. And then I thought Heath Schuler was going to be a great quarterback. I really did. And he completely bombed out. Thought Jeff George would be good. I mean, you can go through all those different years. And then other quarterbacks that step up a lot more than you ever, I thought Ryan Leaf was going to be better than Peyton Manning. But that came down to, at that time, with his drug drinking problem on Ryan, and how he straightened his life out and everything. But so he didn't have that work ethic that Peyton had. Yeah, and that's
not many do, right? No. Not many do.
No.
Peyton's up there on the Jordan, Jeter. They're up there all in a category of their own with their work ethic. But great question, John. Thank you. Eli has a question. Shout out to Eli. Hi, Connie. Thanks for taking the time to join the show. As a scout, what is your 5-year plan to turn around the Jets?
Whoa, 5 years. I hope it's not 5 years. I can't take that long anymore.
How about 5 months, Eli? Let's do 5 months.
People just, the patience of the world is just so different than it was. It used to be, you thought that a quarterback was going to take, Namath won in his 4 years, 65, and then he was 60. Okay. And that's normally what you used to think. Now, if a guy isn't showing something by his second year, that you have to think about, am I going to pick up his option? Am I paying him? Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So now, again, everything plus free agency. So everything, but you also can change very fast. And I think that's why at least 4 to 5 teams every year that weren't in the playoffs the year before make the playoffs, because they hit it. They weren't thought to be as good. Their schedule's a little bit easier. I like the Patriots. And so then they.
Nice. We just became best friends. You're taking random digs at the Patriots. We are best friends. We're going to have holiday dinners together. Connie, I love you. That's fantastic. Now I know I can do it. Thank you. You opened up the floodgates for me.
The thing is, if you have the quarterback nowadays it's always been important. But I did a study from 1975 to 2000. The first 10 picks of each draft. I just wanted to see just the first 10 picks. And from that, in that one, it was 3 running backs drafted for every quarterback. From 2000 to now, it's 3 quarterbacks drafted for every running back. So the whole game has changed completely.
Yeah. I've looked at, I've always said that a team that drafts a running back in the top 10 doesn't win. You're missing out on a blue chip position. Like the only one in recent history who's won a Super Bowl was Leonard Fournette, but he didn't win it with the team that drafted him.
No,
McCaffrey didn't make a Super Bowl with the Panthers.
And Barkley won.
Elliott's never been to one with Dallas. Like none of them have made the Super Bowl. You know, they had to go to greener pastures. McCaffrey got traded. Fournette went to Tampa Bay, and then they get it. So it's crazy how the running back position used to be valued here, and now it's valued here.
You think about the Earl Campbells and all those guys, John Riggins is. I mean, you can go through the whole thing. They were just there were tons of them, and there were the Tony Dorsetts. I mean, just you know, as I said, just Emmitt Smith. You can go through so many guys that are legends, and so it is it's very different now than it was back then. So quarterbacks and the game, in the old days when you graded a quarterback, you wanted to say, okay, can he stand tall in the pocket? Can he take a hit in the mouth? Well, you can't do that anymore. But could he stand that and take the rush and come? And then of course accuracy still goes for now and back then and now. But you want him to be in the pocket. You want the offensive lineman want to know where their quarterback was. Now the whole game has changed. Yeah. So it doesn't mean you have to be a Lamar Jackson, but mobile enough basically to pick up a first down if need be, that you're not.
You have to be, especially with the size and athleticism, the speed and the monsters on the defensive line coming at you. You can't be a sitting duck anymore.
Right. And wide open, everything with the spread offenses. Back in the old days, you had just two receivers. You had a tight end. You had a fullback and a halfback and your quarterback. Everything was basically, condensed.
Yeah.
You never had five wide or anything like that.
I want to add a question onto Eli's super chat here. Again, folks, we're giving away a Mark Gastineau signed jersey at the end of the show. $5 super chats and up, gifted memberships get you on the wheel. We're joined by the great Connie Carberg here, first time on the program, and tremendous guest. Thank you for your time, Connie.
My pleasure.
Adding on to this, how do you feel about Darren Muji? Now, there's been a lot of criticism of going for Justin Fields, letting Rodgers go, and then this year passing on the quarterback, bringing in Geno, and loading up the roster for 2027. What's your opinion on the Jets doing that? Like, is that the right move in your mind? Get the better roster to bring the quarterback in as the last piece of the puzzle so he's got everything around him to succeed, even though the fan base is rabid for victories.
I know.
Is that the right thing long-term in your mind?
In our case, I think it is. I won't say this is every case is a little bit different, but we went through so much with the down and with the thing with Zach and everything else. Now, I was a big Sam Darnold fan. I love Sam, and it took me 7 years, but finally, all the things that I said about him, sometimes, but we don't have the patience to wait anyway. That's just the way it is. But I think, everybody has their own thing. But it looks like Darren Muji has a really good plan. And from everybody that I've even spoken with, they just think the world of the guy. He just seems to, have a good way about him, a good rapport with people. So we'll see. I mean, now it's a matter of the scouts and him, judging the players, whether it's pro personnel and how they're or the college personnel and how they're doing that, and then how he and Aaron Glenn are, if they see eye to eye on everything. As I said, I think last year it's almost like you just have to toss it out and forget about it like a bad game.
Done. All right, done.
Yeah. So we don't look at the tape just like the other night.
Everyone listen to Connie. Last year's gone. We're not going to discuss it anymore.
I know. It was too tough. So one thing we know with Geno Smith, I mean, if you watched him in college at West Virginia, he could throw a ball. When you watched him, even when he came to us, and he was 8-8 under Rex. So it wasn't like he was a complete flub. And then, the jaw thing, but he's matured. It's been a long time. He's had some good years. So, but I don't know what happened with Justin Fields. I never thought that he would be that way. He couldn't run. He almost it was like he was afraid to run. He was afraid to throw. I don't know, but I'm also happy with the changes in coaches from what I can see. Last year we had a running back coach coaching the quarterback. Yeah. But this year we have Musgrave, who played quarterback. You have Frank Reich, who's been around forever and knows his stuff and brought the greatest comebacks, in college and pro football. And so I think That should make a difference. And then, of course, on defense, Carl Dunbar, who I'm a big fan of. He was with us under Rex when we were at Cortland, and then he went to the Steelers all these years. So I'm really glad it's back. So as I said, I think now they're trying to basically get this team, as you know, like you do in a corporation or anything. You want to get your own people. Yeah. Not to say the other people weren't good. It's just whatever is fitting your particular scheme and your particular beliefs and the kind of person that you want. I don't think, as I said, because we have players that we let go that are doing very well on other teams. Yeah. So, you know, you have to look at that too. I go, oh yeah, he was a Jet. Oh yes, he was a Jet. And so, but they fit in.
A lot of them. We don't retain a lot of players. There's a lot of them.
So I think it's really neat, though, that we have started, and that's what I like about what Darren Muji's doing, though, is he's getting everybody signed. He's doing that. Look what he did with Garrett, and he made sure he got him nice and early, and you see what these guys are getting. I mean, Drake London came out the same time and stuff like that, but he's hurt all the time, even though he was a really good receiver. Yeah. So I think we did really great with that. So I'm very excited about that. That part of it. As I said, I don't know how this defense, I know with Demario Davis, why we ever let him go twice. I've never heard the reason. I don't understand why, because he's a leader, man of faith, smart. Even Rex Ryan, when they drafted him, said he reminded him in a lot of ways of the kind of play that Ray Lewis could do. And the guy, I don't want to jinx him, but he never missed a game till last year. And we have guys that, just didn't get hurt. So with his leadership, and I think we miss C.J. Mosley a lot for his leadership. Yeah. So I think this is going to help Sherwood. I don't know enough about the defensive linemen. For me, that remains to be seen. As I said, our defensive backs, I still think we need another linebacker. But you can't do everything in 1 year. So I think this year we were really concentrating on the offense. Yeah. We signed some free agents to get us through, and we'll see. And then next year, the draft of the century, according to everybody in the world. Yeah. But again, at this time last year, the quarterbacks that we thought were going to be the top all fell down.
Nussmeier, Drew Aller, Klubnik.
And everybody thought they were all surefire.
Sellers. They were all written in. It's guaranteed top 15 picks, and none of them went in round one. And
then now you got so what happens? Now we have to see what happens with the guys that are coming out. I mean, nobody thought that really that the quarterback that the Saints got was going to be this top-notch guy. And I always love Bo Nix. That's my kind of guy. And he fits, he also fits perfectly with Sean Payton's system. Yeah. So again, he might not work in everything. I don't know. And also playing in New York, you have to be like Namath and Eli Manning. You have to not be a sensitive human being to criticism and being taken to task. And now with social media, it's even worse. Yeah. But so that's what I'm saying. But Sam was sensitive. Mark Sanchez was very sensitive. Zach is very sensitive. Look at the Giant quarterback. Daniel Jones was sensitive. And it's really hard in New York. That's why I think
the thing that always worked with Eli was kind of like that goofy aw shucks like type of thing. Like he didn't take himself seriously, but like he knew how to like just be even keel, right? Even on the field, like he very rarely got like pumped up and showed emotion. He was very even keel, and I think you need that to survive in New York. You can't ride the highs. You can't pump your chest out if you have one good game. Because you get humbled very quickly by the media and the fan base here.
You're right. And we never knew that Eli had a personality. Now we all see it.
Now you see Eli's one of the most entertaining people in media.
Unbelievable. You never knew that, though. You just, like you said, you just thought he was la-di-da-di-da, kind of thing.
The teammates always hinted about it. Like when he played basketball, he would talk trash. Like Strahan would always say that Eli playing basketball was the biggest trash talker there was. But that was behind the scenes. That's with your teammates. But in front of the microphone, that's how you got to be. And that's how you have to be in New York. If you try to come to New York and take over New York, it's going to spit you up and it's going to chew you out, and we're going to be making fun of you that you were a failure.
And you're not.
You got to be able to embrace it, but be very, very humble.
Because they're watching every. Again, even Joe Namath was quoted as saying, "Boy, if there was social media, I would have had to change my ways a little bit here and there, right?" And because these guys have no privacy, and they have nothing they can get away. The old days, the Super Bowl team, they could climb out of the the dorms, with sheets if they wanted to break curfew. There'd be five people with cameras now.
Yeah.
And then they'd be in big trouble. So I feel sorry for these guys in some way because every little thing is magnified.
Yeah,
and they're making tons of money, but there's still that other part that
people forget they're human, right? Like they just look at athletes and actors as you entertain me now 24/7. Like they don't have that line of some people, not all, don't have that line in the sand of you see it last night with Wemby getting stuff thrown at him going into the hotel. Small sample, but
how do you throw something at somebody who just made you win? Actually, I mean, he just had a terrible fourth quarter. He just did. And
if anything, you should be happy. Like you should be buying. Hey, what room are you in? We're gonna send you champagne. Thank you.
Yes, exactly.
Thank you for the greatest choke job of all time. You never have to pay for a meal again in New York. That's the approach I would take. If somebody threw an interception that allowed the Jets to advance and possibly win the Super Bowl, bro, what's your charity? We're taking care of you. like let's do this. But I don't get hating on them when they've been up and they've blown 3 games, but I digress.
As I said,
a couple of comments to get to.
Sure.
Jets Worldwide, Snowball, good friend of the show, says, I went to Hofstra a couple years back to get my Gastineau jersey signed, but unfortunately Mark was unavailable that day. So he's in the raffle for 4 entries. Thank you, Connie, for everything you've done for this organization. Go Jets. Thank you, Snowball. Appreciate you.
I feel blessed, and I hope you do. I hope you get it then. And I'm sorry that you missed out on it. Mark is doing well, and he's, as I said, he's been cancer free now for the 5 years he had the stage 3 colon and stuff. And as he got that award at the Hula Bowl, and as I'm very. Mark and I've gone through so much stuff since he was drafted, but our friendship and his wife with Joanne have just been wonderful. So, and I stay in touch with a lot of the players from all.
That's awesome.
That's what I love about it. Going up every year. It's funny. I remember I always stayed with my friend, Kathy Reed Pandolfo, that she was up in operations, and I would come out to Jet Camp and I would stay with her for 3 weeks when I went to camp. We'd have a great time, but I would sit down in the lobby sometimes and wait, for the players, and I'd be sitting there, and then I got to practice. And I remember Kerry Rhodes, who's again became one of my best friends. Kerry came over to me one day and goes, "Who are you?" And I said, I said, my name is Connie Nicholas Carberg, and I grew up with the Jets. Well, from that moment on, we became best friends. But he saw me at all the places, but it was a great time. But as I said, Hofstra was really fun, and it was very relaxed atmosphere.
That's great.
Except for when Parcells was there. Parcells was very
business-like, right? Everything
very,
was
very, very, very strict. Yeah. And so, but other than that, when Pete Carroll, that was Aaron Glenn's rookie year when Pete Carroll was there, and he put in a basketball court. Pete Carroll let everybody come in, and just like you think Pete Carroll would be, just as friendly and as unbelievable.
Stacks of gum everywhere at the chew, right?
And then we go and we got coat-tight, and everything changes, and we take out the basketball court, and then we get Parcells, but then then we had a nice little winning time. So
yeah,
it was.
Hopefully we get back to that. We deserve it as fans.
Yeah.
Shout out to MC Mays, gifted a membership that went to Odd Job. And ladies and gentlemen, we got a couple big gifts going off. We're going to get to all your questions in the super chat. I promise I don't want to lose these because I know YouTube will miss the names. Phil gifted 5, ladies and gentlemen, that went to Paulie Dog Jet, Hojek, OG Jet fan. That's our friend Tommy, who just passed away recently.
Oh,
Alan and Sharon McLean. So I am going to. We play this anytime someone gives 5, and this is our friend Tommy, who passed away. Nobody had. You talked about passionate fans before. Enjoy this.
Here we go, baby. J-E-T-S, Jets, 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 let's go, baby.
Oof.
Yeah, Tommy.
That's so
Tommy
sad.
had good energy.
Oh,
We miss him. So we honor him on this show. Anytime somebody gives 5, we play that.
That's so nice, Nick. That really is. Oh boy, I know. I said that's what makes Jet fans and togetherness, and keeps us all going.
And Cisco for those of you who missed the beginning, Cisco Lopez, official Nick Shine Show producer, ladies and gentlemen. Cisco gifted 10 that went to Gilbert Farmer, Johnny Jets, Rick Furdy, Jimmy Jets, Real, Michael Basso, Goose McGee, Chris, and Connor Long, New York Flight Jets Talk.
Ah.
Thank you, Cisco. Cisco, you get one as well.
Here we go, baby. J-E-T-S, Jets, 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 let's go, baby.
Wow. Amazing. Yeah. That's tough.
We'll touch on that before the end. I promise you with some things that I know that you and I are near and dear to our heart. We'll talk about later on.
Okay.
We'll end on that note. A
Sure.
couple more questions and super chats from Kevin. Connie, who was the player that you scouted that you didn't really see much in that ended up being a star?
That's interesting. Let's see, I'm just trying to think. Because I have to go back to when I scouted. That ended up being a star. Boy, I'm just trying to think. I have to really think about this. Hold on, give me a minute. That ended up being a real star.
Or who's just a player that like caught you off guard? Like you didn't see it on film and like you were surprised when like, you know, he burst on the scene and it was just like, wow, we didn't have that.
Well, I'm just trying to think. I didn't know. I loved Randy Gradishar when I was at Ohio State, but I didn't know he was going to be that good. I actually had Rick Middleton, who was another linebacker. I actually had him graded higher than Randy. He had a
really?
career. Yes, but I liked Randy a lot, but now he's going in the, I think he's going in the Hall of Fame, or at least he's a finalist. But yeah, I would say, Randy there. I would say, actually, I'm just trying to think if there's anybody else that being a star. I'd say I could go with Doug Plank, who has become a very good friend because he didn't play a lot, right? He didn't get a lot of playing time when he was at Ohio State, and then he went to the Chicago Bears, and that's when Buddy Ryan was there, and they named the 46 defense after him because of his hard hitting, and he ended up having a really, really good career there. But just because of his toughness, he just would, hit anything in his way, kind of thing. So I would say probably him.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Next question from Derek. John Riggins grew up 15 miles south of where I live in central Kansas. I go there all the time. They have a John Riggins Avenue I used to work near. Oh, thank you.
Boy,
that's pretty cool.
There's a guy with so much ability. I remember sitting, as I said, with Coach Walt Michaels when he was playing for Kansas. And he was special. The only thing was when he got to the Jets, apparently, he didn't like being second fiddle kind of thing. Joe got all that kind of stuff. And then he ended up being the superstar. And he didn't always use all his ability, but he did when he went to the Washington. Back then they were called the Redskins. And, but he was a character. He'd come in with a mohawk haircut. He would do all kinds of things, and then he was trying to get more.
We have a couple characters in our community with a mohawk. We understand. We get it.
But he was again a character. Then he had the big afro for a while, but he was really just a powerful run. Now there's from Kansas, real farm boy, and that kind of stuff. But he ended up having a really good career.
Nice. Now, I was going to ask you this earlier, and very good friend of the show, Leanie, put this question in as I was thinking it. So, Leanie, I love that we're on the same page. Leanie says, Connie, who would have been your pick at number 2? Who did you have? Were you Team Reese? Were you Bailey? Where were you looking at in this draft?
For us, I actually was going with Bailey. Okay. I thought, and I'm a Buckeye, but that's that's where it's. But Reese, I think, is going to be great. But as far as development, and he was new there, and the kind of scheme that we were running, we need pass rushers. The name, as Walt Michaels used to say, the name of the game is get the quarterback. People would say, well, this guy doesn't play, and I was so happy to see that with Carl Dunbar. People were going, well, he doesn't play the run that well, and Carl Dunbar says, don't worry about that. You got to get the quarterback.
Yeah,
and that was that's.
I loved it. He basically all of the narratives on all of the shows were about he doesn't play the run, And then the defensive line coach, who we all respect, was like, "That's that. I don't care if you're going to play the run. Go get the quarterback."
That's what Walt would say. Even
but maybe we overvalued that a little bit as fans in the debating, because Dunbar was like, "No, go hit the QB."
Get the quarterback. Once you put the pressure on the quarterback, all the rest of the stuff will fall into place. And you know, it helps the defensive backs, it helps the linebackers. They can fill the gap when you're rushing, everything. So I agree, and I thought that was so great when he said that. I said, "Oh yes, I love this," because that's what Walt always used to say. And there really was no tougher. You know, he was all pro for the Cleveland Browns, and just a real tough guy. I loved him as a head coach. I worked with him, and I worked with Lou Holtz. And Coach Holtz and I got along great because he had worked for Woody Hayes at Ohio State. And
I didn't know that.
Yeah, even though he was only there.
He was there at some point.
Yeah, he was assistant coach. He said Woody would fire him and then hire him and fire him and hire him every day. And his whole family was just, and they still are, most lovely family. And Lou Holtz was probably the greatest motivational speaker I've ever heard, ever. And even with the lisp, with everything else, this man has such a way. And it was, so sad when he passed, but he did so much for so many people. He just wasn't meant to be a pro coach. And he realized that after he got there. He still wanted to be able to select the players that you want that respond to your coaching, and then the rah-rah kind of thing, which I love. But the pro players are not as big into that kind of stuff. So I think he realized that because he had success at every college he was at.
Awesome. There's a certain someone in the chat who always skips the line. My son's here, little Nicky Shine, says, "What's up, Connie? What's up, Nicky?" He's 17 now. He's not little. He's not little. He's like 6 foot. He's 220. He's solid muscle. He'll kick my butt. So,
is he a Jet fan?
He's a Jet fan. He's a Jet fan. Yeah, he took the picture of me and you at camp, so he's not in the picture with us.
That's great.
He didn't make the cut, but he took this picture of us.
So what year is he now? Is he 17?
He's a senior. He's graduating, and he graduates June 23rd, which happens to be my mother's birthday. Wow. And then a week later, June 30th, he starts with Lincoln Tech to become an electrician. So
awesome. That's great.
Yeah, he's got a very
strenuous
year ahead.
People are always looking for electricians. Let me tell you.
Yeah. There you go, Nick. We got you your first job. We're going to bring you down to Florida. You're going to work at Connie's house. There we go.
I'll fly him down. That's right.
That's it. We'll come down. I'll be there with the suitcases. We'll spend a weekend. It'll be a great time. We'll talk football the whole time.
I know. It's all I love doing, no matter what. It's just talking football. Yeah, as I said,
I can relate.
Yeah, I went to Joe Namath has a golf tournament twice a year. One down in near where he lives in Jupiter. Mm-hmm. And then one up on Long Island. He'll have one there in September, and he raises like $1 million, for different charities, for veterans, for young people, for March of Dimes, all different things.
Yeah,
and he has all different athletes that come. So I've met the last few years. I've been going. I just met so many wonderful people there, and just getting to know. And I was sitting with the last one, Earl Christie, who was a kick returner for Super Bowl III, and John Schmidt, who was a center for Super Bowl III. I just sat and listened to them talk and exchange stories from back in that time, and it was really awesome, And then Lawrence Taylor was there. I mean, you name it. It was great. So I met a lot of people that I really had never known before. Sean Landetta, who was with the Giants and the Eagles, he's a great guy, and I usually don't speak to Giants. So, but he and I love it.
I love it.
No, he's a good guy. And the Giants have a great girl, Hannah, who's a full-time scout for them. And great girl, wonderful girl. And she's doing a really good job for them. So there's quite a few women scouts now. There weren't, of course, back then. But Bruce Arians is the one that opened the door for so many people. He started with Jen Welter in Arizona, and had her as an intern coming in for coaching, first time. And then boom, then the Jets brought in 3 people to be scouting interns, girls. Then now it's just like everywhere. And there's so much competition now. I mean, there's a lot more openings, but a lot more competition because there's so much, like sports administration is now and sports management, big majors, which they didn't have anything like that when I was growing up. So It's really fascinating though how many, and of course now girls have flag football, so they can
They
even.
they just voted that in New Jersey. It's going to be a varsity sport now.
I know the Jets have been very big on doing that kind of stuff.
They are.
Yeah.
The school that I work at, the Jets sent cleats and they sent the flags are New York Jets flags. So it's like, the Jets have been big sponsors in supporting that and getting that off. They've had teams play there at the facility. So the Jets have been very influential in the girls' flag football. In
very much.
I know of New Jersey. I don't know if it's New York too, but I'm sure.
No, they really have been. They really took it. We've had it in Florida for a while, but it's so neat to see the way it is growing. I like, I think it's a great way to learn football without having, for the girls, especially without having to play tackle or something. And I think it's an awesome sport. I wish they had it when I was growing up.
I wish it wasn't in the spring. My daughter's a slugger in softball, and she could be quarterback. She could be a quarterback, but it's the same time. It's going to be a spring sport, so the softball girls who could throw are like kind of left out of it.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah, I know.
I wonder why they. Well, I guess the weather, or what's the reason why? Maybe they don't want it to coincide with regular.
I guess that whoever would coach it would coach the fall when the boys are playing, so they put it in the spring as another time. So maybe that's all factor into it. But
interesting.
I wish she could play and be quarterback. She played flag football when she was 5 and 6, and 7. She played for 3 years with flag football. And
is she a good athlete?
Great athlete. Yeah, she hit 5'12" this year on JV.
I guess she is.
Championship team. Yeah,
I guess she
hit 5'12", and she had a slump the last 2 games because she like busted a knuckle and couldn't squeeze the bat the whole way. She was over 600 for most of the year, but had a little slump the last 2 games. Wow. But yeah, she's tremendous. We call her little Aaron Judge.
Unbelievable, Aaron Judge. What year is she?
She's a freshman.
Oh, so you got plenty of time.
She's got plenty of time. Yep.
You can enjoy.
And now we're going to be all over New Jersey with her travel season.
Amazing.
So, she's awesome. Also, I'll be remiss if I didn't say, when you come up in September, we have to get together. We have to see each other or in training camp. Good. And if you happen to get a +1 for Joe's golf event, I could golf. I just
yes,
I'll join you. I'll be your +1. All right, Connie.
It's over at let's see, where is it? They play at Bethpage.
Nice.
But they stay in Jericho at the Fox Hollow, but they play in Bethpage. So,
awesome.
Victor Green from the Jets is there. Yeah.
I talked to Victor here and there on social media.
Great guy.
He's great. He's tremendous. He loves golf. He's golfing every day. What a way that's how you retire. So he's got his knees redone, and now he's back on the golf course, and he's the happiest guy in the world just hitting a golf ball every day.
He looks great. He's in shape, and as I said, he was the best safety boy. He was a great safety for us.
Him and Marvin Jones are tied as my favorite 2 Jets defenders.
And Marvin.
I love Marvin and the way he played the middle, and then Victor at that time too, in the 90s when the team started coming on and winning, and I just felt that they were the focal. But there's other players who were more celebrated, but I just loved. I related to those guys as players, and I absolutely love them.
And Marvin's doing. He's coaching. I think was an indoor football. He's coaching. He's coaching a bunch now, and you see him all the time.
He posted a picture on his social media on a bus with like 30 beds on the bus, and he's in there. Posted a picture in like the middle of the night as they were traveling. So.
It's amazing. Just as I said, that's what I love about this. Anthony Beck with the UFL down here in Orlando. It's a shame they lost in the first round of their playoffs. But his son Rocco was at Iowa State. Iowa State used to always get got a lot of good players, and but he was their quarterback the last 3 years. Now he just transferred. Their head coach went to Penn State, so Rocco just went to Penn State. So it's going to be interesting to watch his career. Because he's not big. He's not like Anthony's 6'4", 6'5", so he's a lot shorter. But the kid's a good quarterback, so I'm anxious to watch him. So you look for Rocco Becht.
All right. Oh, I like it. Mm-hmm. Cisco with a $50 super chat. Thank you, Cisco. You're the man. We'll have plenty of Blitz BK songs and Tommy chants for you later in the program. I promise. I will not forget. He says, Connie, when Jets fans think about your legacy 50 years from now, what do you hope they remember? Not about being the first woman scout, but about the person and the football evaluator that you are.
Wow. As far as the person, I love people, and I hope I started out as a receptionist, and knowing people, and I loved trying to share. I was so blessed in my life with being with the Jets and around them. And I love to share it with people that I grew up in Babylon on Long Island, and I was a swim coach and all that stuff. And I would bring all my swim team, to practices. And I want, as I said, I want people to, as I said, I hope I've set a good example, first of all, in the way that I, try to, but I believe in, not in PR, but just the public. I just want them to feel and enjoy and understand how great it can be a Jet fan. And anytime I can share it with people, that's what I really like to do. And then as far as the value, I don't know how good it's funny. I'd say overall, I'm pretty good. I have a tendency, as I said, when I watch Wemby play, as great as Wembanyama is in basketball, he doesn't have a nonstop motor. He does it in spurts. That's not my kind of player. Okay. So so I like guys, that are going to get the same thing in football. And they're giving everything. It may not, a Wayne Corbett type. Okay. Mark. You could go through Klecko. You could go through all these different guys, just Brucey Harper. You go through so many different guys. Those, here's little Brucey that's 5'5" and, right. But play Leon Washington. And go through so many different guys. That's what as I said, so as an evaluator, that my tendency is not just is their ability, but also the passion has to be that. And that's the way I decided to have Mark go to the Senior Bowl over the other guys that I called.
Awesome. That's tremendous. Ricky, New York Live with a super chat says, any advice for someone who wants to get into scouting?
Interesting. If you are, a couple of things. If you're in college, they like it. If you're majoring in any kind of like sports journalism or sports management or anything like that, make sure you do an internship. Internships are the way to go. You get whether it's, and it may not be exactly what you want. Maybe you want to be a scout, but they might only have an operations, or they only might have marketing, or they only might have PR or some community service. Take it. And it may, sometimes you have to do, maybe you'll be in a college, maybe you'll be in a fan fest, how the Jets have their fan fest.
Yeah.
But you don't know, first of all, you may end up loving that. Second thing is somebody may see the kind of work ethic you have and take you on and say, I want her or him to be with me because I like what they do. I like how a team player, how they interact with people, because this is a team. If you're a loner, and you don't want to do that, you're not meant for it. So unless you want to be in maybe, some other thing that it doesn't, like maybe if you're counting and you're not dealing with a lot of people, you're dealing with numbers. But if you're a people person and you think, but the other part with the scouting, as I said, now girls have an opportunity too with the flag and everything like that. But I would say internship, and then same thing with guys. And then start, even when you're start writing your own scouting reports. That's the other thing I would do is, and see if you have that knack or not, or see where your weaknesses are and where your strengths are. Look at that. Take this fall and take a couple of teams and then write these guys up and see what happens in a year. And you'll then know if you have a feel for it, or as I said, where your weaknesses are that can be improved kind of thing. And now you have so many opportunities too, also with YouTube, if the all 22, if you can get it, to do that. But I would say the most important thing is networking. Internship, networking. It's always about meeting people. And the other part is everybody gets the piece of paper. Everybody gets a degree now. It's not a big deal. The part is what sets you apart. Why do I want to hire you instead of the other person? What is it? So number one,
you need that it factor, right?
Yes, the passion, the work ethic. Are you there on time? Team, as I said, team player, or you just seem to jibe with that group. That nothing is beneath you. If somebody says, "Can you please go get a cup of coffee for me?" You don't say, "Oh, I'm not going to do that." No, you just do. Nothing that's illegal, but anything that's a job like that, you do anything, and you're always being watched. And I always tell the young people that I speak to at colleges, it doesn't take 50 people to like you and to hire you. It takes one. And so you just kind of keep doing it, and also it could be in something different than what you start out in, which happens all the time. I hear everybody say, well, I started out in pro scouting and then I ended up in operations, or then I ended up here. And there's a lot of opportunities now that there weren't before for both men and women, and a lot of jobs that you probably aren't even aware of that are with teams. But that's the most important thing, internships.
Okay. Well, what set you apart?
Okay. It's so far, I think because first of all, it was really rare for a woman to even like football back then and know it to some degree. And I was the receptionist, and when people called in, whether it was Howard Cosell or whether it was Dr. J coming in to use the facility or to see Joan, everybody came in to see Joe Namath, of course. And I knew who everybody was and all that kind of stuff. And at the same time, I was a scouting, and I did not know how to be a secretary, though. I didn't know how to type or do shorthand, and you didn't have YouTube, and you didn't have anything to look stuff up. But the Jets, I was very blessed. The Jets valued my knowledge of football. And that's how it just kind of proceeded. And Al Ward was the general manager, and Mike Holloway, and they're the ones, we were working on game plans back in the locker room, eating Chinese food. And after I had made a draft, they had me make the last draft pick in 1975. And which I did. It was 17 rounds, but I just didn't even expect them to do that. And then the next year, then Al Ward said, "Kind of, we want you to do scouting for us." And I went, "Oh, okay." And as I said, I didn't know it was a big deal because football had just become my obsession.
Yeah,
it was the only thing I really had confidence in, and I can't tell you why. And I was not one that said, okay, I
would have never guessed that with you.
I really,
yeah. I mean, obviously it's many years ago, but just seeing you now, like you just seem like you're.
No, I didn't date. I didn't go to my prom. I was, was always wanted to find a great husband, which I ended up getting and everything. But I just wasn't confident in that. But with football, I think growing up with it, being around the teams all the time and everything, it became a part of me.
Just your niche in life.
And then, and then it was a passion. Like some people, everybody's got their own passion. You find out what it is. And when I went to Ohio State, and when Woody Hayes, I went to have him autograph his book, You Win with People. And I waited outside the Union. And he came out. And this is the other part. I kind of went my extra mile to make sure I met him. And he came out and he signed it. We started talking, and he said, "Come over to the stadium and we'll talk." So I did. And he said, "There's really nothing for women. Don't forget, this is 1971. So there's nothing for women right now." Phyllis George hadn't even started on NFL Today or any of those kind of things. He said, "But what I want you to do is to come to practice every day, even if it's closed. I want you to talk to scouts. I want you to talk to players. You're allowed no matter what to come." And he said, because he said, again, the passion thing, he said, you have a passion for this, and right now there's nothing, but don't give up on your passion. You never know where it's going to lead you. So I listened to Coach Hayes. And I was very, very, so I think, he was one, as I said, there were a few people that just really believed in me. And
that's great.
And so then I just kind of, took it from there. And then, as I said, I just talked about it, and I had no idea that it was happening, that was going to come. And the only way when I got the job was I was going to teach at Babylon High School. I got the job there. I was going to teach and then coach girls sports, because now girls sports were starting to be there.
Okay.
And my father had his 50th birthday party, and we had friends and family. And Charlie Winter was the head coach of the Jets. And he was there with his wife, Nancy. And I always table hop talking to people, again, networking. I didn't know that's what it was called back then. And so I just sat down at the table with them and talked. And he said, "Man, you really know your stuff and you love football." He said, we're here at Hofstra, and we're building a brand new building, a complex. They used to share it with Hofstra. Now they were building their own, Weeb Eubank Hall.
Yeah.
He said, "Would you consider working for us?" I go, "I'm there. I don't care what you pay me. I don't care when I start. What do I do?" But I don't know how to be a secretary, but whatever it is. But I said yes, and that's how it all happened. So as I said, you just, that's where, again, networking comes in. So that's the key.
Awesome. We got a super chat from Lou B that says, "Connie, with the players we have, the future picks, the future cap space, do you think it's possible for us to see a Super Bowl in the next 3 years?" Lou's very impatient. He's been at the Knicks playoff games.
Oh yes,
He's just getting over them not drafting Love, the running back. He was very big on taking
I
Love,
him.
the running back.
I loved him too. Oh, I did.
Well, Lou just fell in love with you because that was his guy. And we took many phone calls on this channel and others, Jake's included, with Lou discussing Love. So
if we didn't if we had let go of Brees, which I didn't want to do, but if that happened, I would have taken Love no matter what. I don't care if he wasn't a value pick. That's what that was my, as far as the class, as far as his ability, everything. So I would say in 3 years, yeah. I mean, we stand a chance. I just want to get to the playoffs first. Then, okay, and I don't see it this year, but next year I don't see why we couldn't, because I think one more draft, filling in the places where we're missing. We're not right now. We have everybody signed. We're in good shape monetarily.
Yeah.
So if the coaching is good, and Muji keeps going too, and you know, and Chris and Woody Johnson are happy, then I think we can do it.
Nice. Do you have a favorite? Have you looked ahead at the quarterbacks for 27 yet?
Boy, I've looked at, you know, I have looked at them. It's funny. I watched Arch Manning. He started out terrible last year, and I thought, oh my goodness. And it was, but you know what? People just projected it because of his name. The poor kid had so much pressure on him. So, but then I saw a lot of
came on.
Yes, a lot of improvement, a lot.
Yeah.
And so that, you know, but we're so quick to judge right away. So I think I like him. Dante Moore, I'm still waiting on to see if I really, you know, he had some very questionable games. He has ability, but I still got to watch. This year's going to tell us a lot, I think, on him. Let's see who I'm trying to think of who else off the top of my head. Who else? Now, of course, we know the thing with Sorsby, but I just I get scared after Arch Schleister. That scares me.
Fair.
From Ohio State, he's 40 years later and he's still in jail and everything from gambling. You know, it's a really big problem. I'm trying to think who else. Not wild on the kid from
there's Mensa, who was at Duke and now he went to Miami.
Yeah, that he's an interest. Again, I want to see what he does at Miami, because Cam Ward looked great. Came in, now everybody's waiting to see how he went number one. And we'll see how I wasn't thrilled though with the kid, with what he did. You know, I know they're young kids, but he actually signed and said he was going to stay at Duke. And then the next thing you know, he's gone to Miami, and I'm down here. I mean, I love it that he's going to be down there at Miami, but that kind of, just like the kid that went from Tennessee and left him because he said he wasn't paying him enough. And after he had signed or was promised, and then he went out to UCLA, and Nico, whatever his last name is, can't even say his last name, but he, that's another one. I'm trying to think of who else what other quarterbacks? I know there's a couple, as I said, there's a couple, you know,
Matier, I think comes to mind.
Yeah. Again, I wasn't that well. Again, he was kind of a wild card, looked fantastic once. Again, that's why I said they all needed this extra year. And more players are taking that extra year because they're making so much money, which they never used to.
That's it. You don't have to rush now. You can go make 10, 15 million in college and not have all of that pressure. Granted, there's pressure. You're playing in a big time college,
right? But if I wasn't,
can wait for the right situation.
Yes. And then I want to see where, you know, so where Rocco back. The other kid I like is the kid from he was at Arizona State, and my mind is just blank on right now. Arizona State. Now he transferred to LSU, and so he's with Lane Kiffin. And you know, remember Lane Kiffin took Jackson Dart. So if he's healthy, he was injured, but I can't think of his name right. But I like him. And the quarterback for Ohio State, but he may not be coming out yet. He's only had 1 year, so he's may stay
small. Like I need 6'3" is like as short as I can go for a quarterback. He's 6'1" in a little bit. Julian saying,
yeah.
Leave it. Levitt is the quarterback who went to LSU.
Levitt, Sammy Levitt. Yeah, I loved him. He and Jordan Tyson were amazing at Arizona State, and Scatterboo. I mean, they were unbelievable. But then he got hurt, you know, last year.
What a character he is, by the way, Scatterboo. What a character!
I love Scatterboo. That's my kind of guy. Yeah. So,
hit anything, even if the game's not going on, he'll hit something just to hit. He's doing live streams in a cast, and he's still hitting stuff.
He's great. When he did a softball game, he did a backflip. Why would you do that if you just got hurt? Crazy, I tell you. So yeah. So as I said, there's still a bunch more that sellers. but again, he kind of was a letdown. So this year we'll see, and there's also probably there'll be one or two that are going to pop up that we don't know about right now.
Yeah. And
So-
that's the thing. Look at Mendoza. Nobody was talking about Mendoza.
Nobody.
So, this is the beauty of having 3 draft picks. And
Yes.
I mean, I think I speak for all Jets fans when I say we are hate watching the Colts this year. They went 1-8 down the stretch, and I don't want the Jets pick to be the best. In a perfect world, the Jets pick is the worst of the 3 first-round picks next year, right? Because it means if the Colts are top 5, say the Cowboys or Packers pick are somewhere between 10 and 14, and then we're like 15 or 16, we just miss out on the playoffs.
Yeah.
Now you're bringing in a rookie quarterback on a team that's on the precipice of becoming a winner.
Yes.
And it can get really good really quick. So
yes,
I would hate for our pick to be at the bottom, because that means you're firing everybody. You're bringing in new staff. You're changing over your schemes again. And now the whole organization is in flux and chaos as you're trying to bring along a rookie. So
it's hard.
that's where I'm at. That's what I'm rooting for this year.
Yeah, I know, because continuity is. I know people are so quick. All of us are, just judge and to get rid of people. Oh, okay, but there has to be continuity. Is so important, and right now it's if you could have it, just like now, the Broncos are set for another 5 years.
Yeah. And they didn't trade up. They picked Knicks in the 12 or 13.
Yeah, so isn't that amazing?
Imagine a world where there's 5 quarterbacks coming out again next year, and the Jets are like all these guys, like say they all rate them like that. Yeah. And now you have a top pick, and you can go get a Jeremiah Smith, or you can go get the edge rusher. You can go add an elite player and then say, hey, we're still in a good position to take our quarterback. We don't have to take him on. And you just bring in an elite roster. It could be fun really quick.
I think so too. That's why as I said, it changes fast. It really does. And of course, injuries, and as I said, we'll see the teams that pop up. Because it really did change from last year. Nobody thought this, like you said, Mendoza was going to be the one over Nussmeier and all those guys.
Yeah, I was on the Mendoza train. I was the first one on the Mendoza train. It was Labor Day weekend, and I was the first. I've said this, and people in the chat will know. I said this all year as the momentum was building. I was the first one on Mendoza. Amazing. A good friend of the show who does scouting, Dom C. Texted me before Labor Day weekend, and he's like, Nikki, you got to watch this guy. He's your type of quarterback. You're going to love him. And we're watching him. And as the weeks went on, we're like, this guy is everything. The leadership, the faith in God, which is very important to me.
Yes.
Everything, like the way he just handles everything. In a perfect world, we would have landed him, but I believe everything happens for a reason. And maybe there's a reason we're waiting for one more year.
Yeah, I know.
Lou B with another super chat says, Connie, do you think Woody and his son being at the Knicks playoff and finals game last night, which Lou was at, makes them want it more and think they could actually, and about really fixing stuff? Could the Knicks winning help the Jets?
I think it could. I really do. I think that they saw the Jets, if they were watching this, you saw a team that really played like a team. It's not one individual. They didn't talk about I want to be MVP. There's 3 guys that could be MVP very easily, which is an amazing thing when you think about it. Right now, we still don't even know who it be. There's 3 that could be, but they don't care. They're there to win, and that's like Brunson and his father, who's tough as nails, and watching how they never give up, come from behind, that the game's not over till to everything, and then to watch how the fans react. So I think subtly, it can make a difference. I think it really can. And so what do you and his son? They were at the game.
They were, and Brady Cook was the only one from the Jets. The garden or one of the workers took a photo of the celebrity guest list. And
I saw that.
If you go all the way down the bottom, like there's like 5 from the bottom, Brady Cook, New York Jets.
Interesting. Isn't that funny though? Isn't that interesting? Maybe it's because they had their mini camp. I don't know.
I don't know. He spent his entire first year's earnings going to the game last night. I don't think Brady Cook is getting comped a ticket.
I know. I don't think so. Yeah. Isn't that amazing? But I really think, as I said, just for them to see what could possibly happen and to get that kind of feel. Look at this, guys. And they were not expected to go this far. But number one, they stayed healthy. most important thing. Whereas some of the teams that they played, whether it was Embiid or and then when they beat the Celtics, who were unhealthy, and I mean all these, and then OKC, who was unhealthy. I mean, everybody that had injured players, and now the two teams that are meeting are the healthy ones. And so, but I think that has something to see, and just from what I understand, James Dolan is not a super popular guy, but he hired this guy Leon Rose, and in 2020, and he has made they NBA is different because you only have 2 rounds to draft in.
Yeah.
And usually it's, you don't get much that way. It's so funny. They draft they give away draft picks for 8 years down the road half the time.
Yeah.
And so I think they traded and they brought in players that somehow all work together. And they all have that, of course, the Nova bunch. I love Jay Wright is a college coach, and Tibbs, you got to give him, Thibodeau, you got to give him credit because maybe he didn't get him over the hump or beat him up too much or whatever they want to say, as
he's
far as
getting Tony Dungy and Mark Jackson.
Yeah, right.
Like
Exactly.
They got them to the brink, but then they're like, no, we're gonna bring in somebody else to get us there.
And Mike, he did a great job with them, and they stayed. But he did take them, 3 years in a row, and get used to the playoff feeling because you can see the Spurs. They just they were like they're
great in the first quarter. They're up 10 points every game, but they don't know how to finish. They're new to it.
Nope, and the youth really showed.
The Knicks got to capitalize because I'm not a big NBA guy anymore with the game, but you look at that team. That team will dominate for many years to come. That's a team that.
And then OKC will be back because they'll have their 2 guys back and stuff. But I agree. No, the thing is, this is the Knicks' year to do it. There's no, they are a team of destiny right now. There's no, they've had too many comebacks for them not to be.
Yeah.
But I think it really is a good thing. And I think it makes me think about it watching it. So the players must feel that, I would think.
Yeah, the energy there is ridiculous. Like, I was at the Jets 41-0 playoff game against the Colts, and I was there the week before when we beat the Packers 42-17 to get in. And as a fan, that was the craziest week of my life in terms of fandom. Beating Favre and knowing we had a win. I was sitting on the section of 324 on the aisle, giving people reports of what was going on with the games. And we knew before the buzz hit the stadium.
Yes.
And then winning that game, and then 41-0 against Peyton Manning. And remember when Peyton Manning would go to the line and do all the adjustments at the line?
Yep.
The roar of the crowd every time he tried to audible. If you go back and watch that game, that crowd, I've never been in a frenzy like that. And we wanted that shutout so bad.
Yes.
When the shutout happened at the end, I mean, people were crying and hugging, and just the New York fans deserve it, man. The Jets fans especially.
I know they really do. And as I said, I would love to have our own stadium and not share it with the Giants. But I guess that's not going to happen. So by the time I'll be dead before that happens. So anyway,
you're gonna live forever.
I wish.
You're a legend. Genergy, big Knick fan, big Jet fan, great friend, awesome person, high energy level human being at all times. Says you broke so many barriers. Thank you. True inspiration. What is the hardest lesson you had to learn?
Wow. My hardest lesson, it sounds really strange, was not, people always say, oh, weren't the men tough on you? I said, no, they were so helpful. This is back before it was the in thing to do. This is back in the 70s. They were unbelievable to me. The hardest thing for me was to pretend to be a secretary when I didn't know how to type or take shorthand. And you go into the office and they say, here, will you write a letter to the general manager of the Minnesota Vikings? And I don't know the form. I don't know how to do this. You can't Google it. You can't get it. And there was no other secretary. I was the only person in there for the first couple of months, the only woman in the whole building. Then this other woman, Elsie, came in to be the head coach's secretary. Once she came in, I could ask her help on it. But and then typing, my fingers were so nervous. And as people walked by, that I would just stop and do something else. And so that was it sounds dumb. And then because other than that, I didn't. I loved every day. I was there 2 hours early, stayed late. Went out to practice every day to watch the guys. It's funny, this one story, my friend Kathy, we were scrimmaging the Philadelphia Eagles at Hofstra. And so I'm outside and I have they didn't have Jets clothes at that time, but I had a green and white outfit on. Because again, they didn't have they didn't have jerseys or anything like that back then. You didn't have Fanatics.
Were you rocking one of these?
I like that. Look at that. Yeah,
You're rocking one of these?
Sort of, kind of. Yeah, it's so funny. I love the AI. And so so I'm standing out there, and I didn't think anything of it. So anyway, after a while, the Philadelphia PR people, the Eagles PR people, come in and they go into Mike Kensel, who worked with who was in charge of operations, Mr. Kensel's son, but he was actually there before his dad. And they went to him and they said, "Man, you guys are so smart during the scrimmage to have a stands hostess." And Mike Kensel said, "What?" He said, "Well, that is so great that you have somebody that's able to tell everybody, all the things about everybody. What a smart idea to have a stands hostess." And so, Kathy, we started laughing because that was just me going out there, and I love talking to people. So everybody, I could tell them who was who and what was going on. Yeah. And so the Eagles thought that I was specifically hired to be this a stands hostess. We laugh about it to this day. That I just love being out there and never get tired of watching. Now I do miss. Since the CBA in 2011, and they went to one practice a day, where you can't tackle special teams. That's how I spotted Chad Cascadden in watching him practice in special teams. And I went, "Oh gosh, 50."
He's an elite special teamer.
Yeah, I said he's got to make the team, and we always talk about that. Now I couldn't tell you because they run down and they hit these stationary blue dummies, or they fall on top of them.
We call them Giants fans, the blue dummies.
That's good. So, yes, I said, so it's very, very different now what they're allowed to do. So I know sometimes I sound like an old, the old person yelling at the cloud and saying, this wasn't the way it used to be.
No, but it's 100% right. How many times do you see teams start off the season with poor tackling because they're not tackling? How do you perfect your craft without perfecting your craft? You just can't talk about it and get better at it. You got to hit to become a hitter. And we've seen many Jets teams come out sluggish, miss tackles, and then it takes them 10 weeks to correct it.
And so many injuries happen. And in fact, I was talking to Tim Brown, wide receiver. It's in the Hall of Fame. He got and he went to the Hula Bowl.
He was a thorn in our side many times.
Yes. And I went up to him. I said, "Did you get hurt?" He said, "Well, no, 15 years. I got hurt one time." And I said, "Well, why? Why do you think that?" I said, "I like to ask this of all the older veterans." And he said, "Because first of all, when you practice, you learn how to fall. You learn how to take a hit and what to do with your body. If you haven't done it for the whole summer and you come in and you start right away, you're not used to it. And all of a sudden, boom, things are going to happen, or you're straining your muscle or your calf. And we know when the calf
How
goes.
many times you see soft tissue injuries because guys aren't ready for the season?
I ask every player that I see at Joe Namath thing of all the former players, Ed Too Tall Jones was there. And I mean, you name all these different guys. And I said, what do you guys think? And that it really is the consensus. You have to play football and in order to be in shape for football. You can do all the weightlifting and running and everything else. But apparently, from what these are all grizzled veterans, and that's what they say. So it's a very different game. So, but there's nothing we can do about it, So I guess we just gotta, as long as they don't go to flag for men, for that.
And they will. The Olympics, it's going to be flag or two-hand touch. What are they doing? I don't even know.
I know that looks so. And what I feel badly about now, if you weigh over 250 pounds, you're not going to play. You can't play. You're left out. It's not.
I call that weightism. Those are weightists right there.
That's perfect.
Those are weightists.
That's perfect.
It's horrible. You're leaving out. Now I'm below that barrier. I was up to 382 at one point. I'm now down to 222. So, but I still have respect for my big brothers.
How could you do that? I can't even lose 5 pounds. Wow.
I quit drinking and prioritized my health.
But that's unbelievable. It really is.
You
feel good? You feel good?
I feel great. I feel great. I look great. I'll let other people tell me that, but I feel great. My body, you take that weight off, you sleep better, you feel better, something I wanted to touch base with you before you leave with, because it's, like I said earlier, it's near and dear to my heart, and it's close to your family as well, is overcoming addiction. And, I'm sober March 10th, 2023, you know, and it's 3 years and 3 months was yesterday. And it's something that I'm always trying to help the next guy. I always tell, or girl, and tell them, you know, there's a beautiful life out there for you. Go and get it for yourself. Like, go get it, go earn it. It's there. And the things and the blessings that I have happening for me in life right now would never have happened if I didn't make that decision. And I know addiction is a part of your family. Is there anything you want to touch on?
Sure. When I married my husband, we were married 40 years, but he was 11 years older. And he had a daughter, great girl, Lisa. We've been close forever. She's married, and her daughter's going off to college this year, and great. And then we had my husband and I had Chris together. But my husband was a recovering alcoholic when I met him, so it ran in his family pretty much. So anyway, my son in his last year of college got hooked on Vicodin and Valium, but he was a person that never did anything out in public, and he, as I said, he got hooked. We didn't know anything about it. He fell over in Kinko's. I got a call from this officer, and my husband and I drove up to UCF where he was at school, and he had never given us a problem ever. He was into acting. He was a real good actor and stuff, but never, once he started taking one thing and made him feel powerful, and then you take more and you feel more powerful. And so we put him in rehab for a week. And we didn't go visit him or anything like that. Then they didn't want us to send him back. My husband said, no, you're going to go back. But we had him, and UCF was so great. He was 21 and they didn't have to do this. And we said, well, whenever we just call up and say he has to have a test, and they would do it. Boom. So, and then we called, but he wanted off so badly, and he lives it's now been 22 years. He doesn't touch anything that affects his mind. And he started, he has the addictionhelp.com. And besides his regular job, because he, just like you, he loves helping other people. As long as, they're willing to give up everything. You can't say, well, I just want my glass of wine. You can't do that. It's that type of thing. So
it's not how we work. We're not wired that way.
No. And his whole life, and he's, married with my 2 grandkids, and he lives 10 minutes from me. He's the one that helps me set everything up. He's the one that made my website 11 years ago that none of this would have happened. He decided just to make one. He said, Mom, I just want this so that everybody knows you were the first. It's no big deal. Not knowing that social media was going to take off. Again, God is working in many amazing ways for us. Amen. And so we were very, very blessed and lucky and the way he lives. And, as I said, I feel so fortunate and the way it is, but it touches so many people. And as I said, through his website, on the addiction help, he's done so many different things and helped a lot of people. And so I understand, and it's really hard when you're an addictive personality, right? If you're an addictive personality, very, very different. You don't know moderation. Moderation is not a word. Okay. 1 or 2 of something is not a word.
No. My addiction that I fight now, the guy that I work with during the day loves cookies. So now I'm like, God damn, dude, I'm eating chicken and cheese and like cucumbers. I'm like, can you stop bringing in and offer me cookies every day? I'm an addict. And like, he laughs at me. He's the sweetest guy. He's like 74 years old. I'm like, you don't get it, bro. Yeah. I'm like, this is cute for you because you can eat cookies. I can't stop eating cookies. I'm an addict. Get this crap out of here.
That was with Chris too. The same thing you do, and you switch. Sometimes you switch one thing, so you have to try to find something. And luckily, he's smart. He can help me with so many different things, and he's a great husband and father. As I said, a great son. So and as I said, so I'm just very lucky the way it all turned out and blessed. So both of us have been touched, and I'm so glad that you were, made that decision. It's not easy.
I wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
I'm blessed that I survived the hell that I put myself through. And that's why I've just committed to just changing my life, turning my life around, and just doing the best that I and being the best that I can be, for me, for my kids. And, the love and support that I've gotten from this community, I've made promise. I put my life out there. I'm out on a YouTube show. I'm out on a platform.
Yes.
I put my failures out there.
That's
for
it.
Like the accountability. And this is like, I don't do meetings. This is my meeting. This chair, this is my safe place, right? Like when life punches, I think to myself, I got to do a show. I want to get in that chair. Like, this is where I feel comfortable because of the love and support that I have here from people. Most of them I've never met in person, but are more supportive than people I've known for 40 years.
Isn't that amazing?
And some are family, and the people here are more important. This is my family. This is where
and you find out,
to.
and you find out how many people are in the same boat and dealing with it. And you never know if something can just, can change. And like you say, bring so many blessings to you afterwards, as tough as a thing as it is. So I know just what you're saying. And it was, when I think back on it, because my mom was dying of cancer at the same time this was all happening. And I think back on that. But it also made me a stronger person in dealing with things. And he's so, as I said, he's so good. And I'm just so, as I said, that's why I feel, while I have enough energy, sort of, at my age and everything, to be able to go back up to the Jets whenever I can. So I hope to go to training camp as usual.
Oh, absolutely.
And, and I always stay up there for like 3 weeks or so and go to practices, and then I'll come back. Joe's thing is in September, at the end of September, his golf tournament. So
awesome. Couple things I wanted to show you before we go. I'm looking for it right now. Oh man, let me go back over here. When the Jets win, you have a very notorious celebration. Now, you don't get to do it very often.
I know.
We're hoping this year we get to see a lot of this.
I had no idea how to do this, as you can tell. We need the music. It's so funny because my son said to me, it was we were losing a game, and Chris said to me, "Mom," because we always sit and watch the game together, just he and I, because it's our bond.
Yeah.
And so I said, well, he said, we can either scream and yell and get upset, or we can do something goofy and fun. And he said, let's do something goofy and fun. I said, all right. And I didn't know that he had already put out there that if the Jets come back and win, I had to do that.
The gritty? Was that
the gritty? Like I said, and then he told me afterwards, I go, I never do that. I can't do that. He goes, don't worry. I'll put the music to it. You'll be just fine. I said, oh my gosh. And I think we had like 2 or 3 weeks in a row. And then after that was it. And it hasn't been too many gritties.
Awesome. Couple quick thoughts on some images we got here. Of course.
Wesley.
Yeah. And I'm honored. This is going to be one of my favorite photos because I got to get the two of you together. I'm going to print this out and I'm going to have you both sign it because you're my first 2 guests on the show, and it would be perfect for me to have.
Yeah, that's when I had the eye problem, and as you can see, where I was being Captain, wearing my little patch.
With the old school camera in your hand too, the big old cameras that we used to have to carry around.
And then go to Kodak. Go to go get them delivered at Photomat, and then you wait to see if they come out.
You'd have to go there, and then some young kid would be like, "They're not ready yet." Yeah,
I know.
Come back.
Or they're all double exposed.
I paid for the hour. What do you mean they're not ready yet?
That's right.
Here's another one, of course, with Mark.
Yeah, he's looking good, and he's doing really well, as I said. And I usually go to the preseason games with him and Joanne, and we always have a really good time and a lot of laughs and stuff. So, yeah, thank goodness he's doing okay.
Awesome. And
my Sammy boy. Oh, I just, it's so funny. I did the thing with NFL Films, came and did a thing for me. So in the very beginning, I'm talking about, they say, can you pick a player and just do something? Kind of say, show what he's doing when you watch a film. So I do about Sam Darnold because I loved him at USC.
Yeah, same.
So I did that. And of course, the whole thing. And then they go on to show my life for NFL Films. Well, for 7 years, I looked like a fool because he was having a tough time. And then, but he's always been one of the finest people. Never threw anybody under the bus.
He took a lot of
class.
He took
class
a lot here.
Yes, but he always had. He reminds me of Jackson Dart in his movements and his ability. Even though he threw some Jackson Dart, he does the opposite thing of getting hurt. But he's, he will. Sam will throw an interception, but he's just gaining. He finally had some people that really believed in him, and it took a couple of times. He said he learned a lot though from Brock Purdy, and when he was out with the 49ers.
Yeah.
That really made a difference to
You
him.
get into a Shanahan LaFleur system, like you are going to have your potential maximized. And I always said about Sam, it was the right player at the wrong time.
Yep.
Like I always play. You want to play an awful but fun game? Go look at the 2020 New York Jets offense, and that's why they didn't keep Sam.
Oh, yeah.
The line, the play. Becton is the only guy who's been a starter after that year. Like it was horrible what they had for him.
I know. Remember? Oh, it's just unbelievable. Oh, I just feel so excited. I do. I love that one though. I was so excited to meet him because as I said, you know how usually we have a draft. They never pick the one that one or two play like a Scatterbo or whoever it may be that I really wanted. But when they chose him, and Jermaine Johnson was my other one, and I love Jermaine. So that so when they take somebody you like, Michael Carter from North Carolina. And, and he had 2 good years. And then, and I always stay in touch with him too. He's out in Arizona.
Yeah.
And great personality. He was a great personality.
He did. He really had.
That's so good.
He's tremendous.
I love
it. And of course, your new best friend.
There we are. Look at this. Isn't that amazing? On the hot day.
That day was horrible. I can't look at that. I could feel the heat in that picture.
When you think about that, boy, it was really hot.
Yeah,
I love it.
That day was. Who would have thought that was the most I'd see Aaron Rodgers play?
Why when you think about that year, we were so excited about the whole thing. But
it's a shame.
Maybe just hopefully this year will be different. And if our receivers, even if Geno throws a few interceptions, I don't care. They they go so crazy over interceptions. We never used to do that. I mean, in the old days, it wasn't that big a deal, but it's, defense just has to stop afterwards. But I'm not going to worry that much if Geno does that. As long as if we can actually throw a ball more than 10 yards, I'll be happy.
Exactly. And that's where Garrett Wilson would be at his best, right? I've been waiting to see Garrett Wilson catch the ball downfield where he makes one move on a safety and can go the distance, right?
There's one of the finest human beings you could ever meet in your life. Garrett Wilson is as fine.
He just looks like he gets it. Like he gets what it's like being a pro. He gets what it's like being a big city. He's humble, he's quiet, he's respectful, but he gets it, and not everybody does.
No, and he really wants to win. It's he just really wants it, and that's why he takes it so seriously. But he is just as I said, a class act. His whole family is, but he is just a great young man. As I said, that class was really a lot of fun. I really enjoyed them all. They were a unique, great bunch, and so
awesome. Well, Connie, it's been an absolute pleasure having you, and the feedback has been awesome. Everyone loves you. Everyone loves your story. You are an icon. You are a trailblazer. You're a legend. And who do I have to call to get you in the Hall of Fame? Because with all of the women involved in the NFL nowadays, you're the first domino. If it's not for you, you don't have all of these women as announcers.
I know, but they use the expression, if you can't see it, you can't do it. But the first person doesn't see it. It just happens that things happen certain ways. And I'm going out to the Hall of Fame because the video guy for the Jets is going in. Jim Pons, and he was with the Turtles, Happy Together and Eleanor and all those songs, and he was with Frank Zappa. So I'm going out there, and also Mike Westhoff is going in, and Ted Cottrell. So I know them, so they're going in to the Hall of Fame.
Tell them, give them a nudge, like, hey.
Yeah, I can't do that for myself. But
get me in touch with them. I'll do it. I will lead the charge for you to be in the Hall of Fame.
I have a guy too. We're working on a movie, of my life. That I had the book, and then the book about 3 years ago, a guy got in touch with me. I didn't know who he was. He wrote to me, and I checked it out with Chris, my son. I gave it to him. He said, "Is this guy for real?" Because he DM'd me. I don't know who he is. So Chris checked it. He said, "Mom, he is. He's for real." So I've been working with him, and then this other guy, actually the officer that saved my son's life, and called me when Chris had and said he had keeled over in Kinko's, and we found him, and he's an undercover detective, narcotics and sex crimes and all that kind of stuff. But he also taught screenwriting, It's quite a dichotomy, and he did that. He's now teaching it at Kent State, but so I'll see him when I go out there. But so we decided on they're all getting together. They've been working on it, and since NFL Films did more of a little documentary thing, and so did NFL Media. I've had 2 of them done. This one is going to be more like a movie, so we're working on that right now. There's a few liberties, but I said it can't change my value system.
Yeah.
Can't be.
I respect that.
That kind of thing with swear words and or trying to make me feel like men are not good, or whatever it is that people try to do now. They want so much drama.
Yeah.
I want an inspirational film.
They want to have that line of division to make people pick a side, like to
I
get their
know.
interest and intrigue.
In this day and age,
I
want inspirational stuff.
Absolutely.
Well,
you're an inspiration, Connie, and we love you, and all the best to you. And hopefully we run into one another this summer. When you come up for camp, I will try to get there, and I'll be in touch with you. I'll let you know what days I'm going, and we'll connect. Connie, it's been an absolute pleasure and an honor to have you on.
And thank you for having me, Nick. It's been wonderful, and thank him for the song. I'm going to keep that.
We're going to play it on the way out, and then I'll send it to you, and you'll have it.
Okay, great. It's unbelievable.
You're the best, Connie.
Thank you so much. I didn't expect that. Thank you so much. It was wonderful.
You're welcome.
Have a great night. Let's go, Jets. Jets.
Let's go.
Young Connie loves football, studying players, reading scouting reports, dreaming about being part of the game. Everyone says that isn't for you. The key Many never met Connie, yet they're walking through doors she held open. Concept, this feels like the emotional center. She never asked to change the world. She only wanted in just a notebook and a football team. And the courage to begin. Now every woman chasing mine can see how far she's come. She didn't know it then, but she paved the path for everyone. The stadium lights fade, the crowd disappears. Only Connie remains. left to pass.
Awesome. 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 Connie's fantastic. I hope you guys enjoyed that as much as I did. That was a lot of fun. Getting to talk to Wesley Walker for an hour and a half last week. Connie's on the show for 2 hours this week. I hope you guys really, really love that. As a fan, it's pretty effing cool. I as a content creator, that's awesome. But as a fan, which I am first, I feel like I'm living a dream right now, and I don't want to wake up. But I have to thank somebody. I made the announcement twice. I'm going to go a little bit further with it right now. I'm a big believer that everything in life happens for a reason, and some people are meant to enter your life at the right time. And I am blessed and honored to have Cisco Lopez enter my life at the time that he did. And Cisco is becoming a very good friend very quickly. And now he is the official producer of the Nick Shine Show. He put that video together. He made multiple songs for Connie. If you go to my YouTube channel and go under videos, the Wesley Walker videos, Gator made one, Cisco made several. Cisco made all the Connie material. So, Cisco, I know you want to remain where you are, but thank you. I love you. You're the best, man. Now, for those of you who are in the Nick Shine Show Discord, the call-in link is there. And that's going to be something we're going to do almost every show from here on out. We're going to keep it to the Discord. It's going to be a reason for people to sign up and become Discord members. Again, at the end of the month, every single one of you who is a paying member of the channel and you sign up for the recurring payments, we are going to be doing a raffle just for you guys. Tonight, we're doing the Mark Gastineau autograph jersey raffle. Every super chat, every gifted membership gets you on the wheel tonight. Thank you, everyone, for your contributions. I appreciate you guys. Jen got me laughing with this one. You were fangirling, Shine. No shame in that. Listen, I love a strong, independent woman. I got to type, Jen. Nothing wrong with that. I got to type. Leanie says, Nick, that was so great. Thank you, Leanie. Appreciate your support as always. John says, Ed, aren't you? I'm looking. Hold on. John, I thought you were in the Discord. Am I wrong? Are you saying something else? I thought you were in there. But, ladies and gentlemen, we had NFL icon Connie Carberg in the show. And now we have a man who put on his 95-degree humid best. He's wearing his best tank top, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Charles Gorman. Sir, how are you this evening?
Good. How are you, man? I heard you were sick. Heard you were sick the other day.
I was. 24-hour thing. Today, literally at 12:30, I was back to being normal. I called Cisco this morning on the way to work, and I was like, bro, I'm down bad. I'm like, this is like Michael Jordan flu game coming in tonight. And then by 12:30, literally 24 hours to the second, I started feeling normal.
That's great, man. That's great, dear. I'm glad you got plenty of rest.
Thanks.
First of all, congratulations for having Connie on your show.
Thank you.
Miss Connie on your show was great. I'm glad she was able to share a lot of good stories, a lot of good experience being a scout. It's not easy being a scout in the NFL, regardless of who you are. So you always got to make sure who you're scouting, what you're analyzing, what you're studying about these players. It's not an easy job. I think a lot of people fail to realize that.
Absolutely. Like she said, if you have a 40% success rate drafting, that's really good. So as critical as we are for draft picks or a Tyler Barron or an Arian Smith, I think Muji's doing a really good job. And I think he's above 40%.
I think so too, but obviously, as the saying goes, the proof is in the pudding, you know? And
Always thinking about food. Can we keep it to football?
it's an expression.
I got you. I know.
I mean, I love food. Can you blame me for loving food?
I know it's an important part of life.
But I also heard you're getting in contact with Ken O'Brien. Hope that works out for you, buddy. I would love to hear from the legend himself. And yes, I am calling him a legend for all you anti-Ken O'Brien people.
Who's anti-Ken O'Brien?
What?
Who's anti-Ken O'Brien?
You said there were a lot of Jet fans that were anti-Ken O'Brien that were like upset they didn't get burrito.
No, they were against. They weren't against him, but there's always people that bring up that we drafted him in front of Marino. Ken O'Brien was head to head with Marino many times and outdueled him many times. That offensive line just left him out there, and he took a beating. He led the league in sacks. It was a record at the time, 62 times getting sacked. So, Ken was very, very good. And if we could have protected him and kept him upright and kept him healthy, even better things could have happened.
The coach was terrible too. My dad, I will tell you, was not a fan of Joe Walton.
A lot of people weren't.
Yeah. But I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I'm feeling a lot better. A lot of stuff's been going through my mind and through my personal life. But
Keep
I'm doing
the Jets.
good.
We could talk off air about that.
I know, but I'm just saying, if you want to know how I'm doing better. As for the Jets, man, I can't wait for the preseason. I know a lot of people don't care for the preseason. The reason I like to watch preseason, I know the wins and losses don't really matter. It's because it's football. I love NFL football. I've been that way since I was a kid. Plus, the most important thing about preseason is that people stay healthy, especially crucial players.
Amen. That's the main thing, right? We saw it last year. We had AVT get hurt the Wednesday, 10 days before the season starts on a Tuesday at practice randomly in a freak incident. Just get to the opener with everyone ready to go. Do what it takes. Get them ready to tackle. Get them ready to hit. But you hope no one gets hurt. And listen, it's part of the game. We get it. But hopefully that works out.
But all I got to say is I really can't wait to see what Mason Taylor does in year 2, what David Bailey does his rookie year.
Forgive me. I changed nothing. I changed something over. You're good. Go ahead.
And hopefully Geno Smith kind of redeems himself in the eyes of Jet fans, because even though he wasn't statistically impressive in his first 2 years with the Jets, he won 8 games as a rookie. And people forget that. He won 8 games as a rookie. And then if you go back heading into the 2015 season, he was basically the starting quarterback. The problem is he chose to act like a fool, get into an argument over stupid stuff with one of his teammates. I think it was A.K. Empinelli, and got his jaw broken. And that led to Ryan Fitzpatrick taking over the starting job.
Yes, sir.
So this is basically Geno's time to kind of redeem himself in the eyes of, not in terms of his talent. We know he's talented. He could throw the ball. He could run, yada, yada, yada. Problem is, it's his maturity. If Geno Smith redeems himself as a mature player and he plays well, then we'll forgive him. That's the way I feel. So I got to say, keep up with the show, Nick. Proud of you, man. God bless.
Thanks, buddy. God bless, Charles. You could do the Membo. You could do the Membo. That's fun. But you could also do the Connie. Hell yeah. Hopefully we get to see many more videos of all of us dancing and celebrating. Last year, I put a challenge out to everybody, and I was like, when the Jets win. Problem was, we didn't win anymore. So hopefully we have, I told you guys last year, we'll do the same thing this year. Jets win, you dance, you celebrate, send it in. We'll put a compilation video together. We'll have Jets fans celebrating week after week after week. We'll put together Sorry, Cisco, if you're watching in the back, I'm creating work for you, but we'll have a compilation video. Listen, if we're winning games, we'll put the work in. We'll do whatever it takes to celebrate Jets fans being happy. We deserve it, for crying out loud. I don't care if it's week 1, week 4, week 8, week 11, week 15, week 17, wild card, division round. We're going to celebrate. The celebration's going to get bigger and bigger as we stack win after win. 6 Rings had a super chat earlier. It says, retire OG's number. What a comeback. Great block plus tip. The instincts on that play, as somebody who played basketball, obviously not at that level, but I prided myself on rebounding and positioning. And his instincts, the cut that he wanted the ball to take a shot when he saw Brunson get double teamed, to then change direction to crash the rim because he saw he could get down the lane. That was poetry in motion. As a rebounder, that was poetry in motion. Watching that, I'm not a Knick fan, but I will appreciate greatness when I see it. And that's an amazing moment. Really, really is. And I just wish that all of the stupidity and awfulness didn't come around with winning. Like, it's an amazing moment. Why are people making bad decisions? Why are people, I don't know. There's always a bad percentage of people in any large group. I get that, but I wish the good people would step up and stop the bad people. Basically, we need vigilantes. That's what we need. Oh, that's a good reference. OG, the silent assassin. Folks, we're getting ready to wind down the show. For those of you who are in the Nick Shine Show Discord, the call-in link is in the lobby. That's where it's going to be from now on. If you want to be able to call into the program going forward, become a paying member of the channel, join Discord, message me, and then you can have access to call in. We're going to keep the show Jet-centric, professional going forward, and hopefully you guys enjoy that. That's been my word lately. Lovely. Thank you, Nob. I appreciate that coming from you. One of my harshest critics, but bestest friends in the whole world. Very kind of you. I love that word. Let's bring back the word lovely. Like, oh, you look lovely today. I had a lovely time. Yeah, Cisco's 100%. She was so easy to talk to. I've been blessed with first Wesley and then Connie, that their memory, their recall, the stories that they have. Like this, some people aren't able to talk and for 2 hours about something and engage and be interested and have people hanging on every word. And both of them did that. It was a lot of fun. I hope that you all enjoyed that. We're going to be chopping that up. There'll be shorts out probably tonight. We'll have shorter videos being released. So I ask that you always hit the like button, share when you see it. Even if it's something that you watched live, if you see a short or a video, just hit the like button. Pop that like button. It helps get the shorts and the videos out into the algorithm. My lives are out into the algorithm, but now we got to get these other videos, which we will be pumping out in big volume. So, folks, if nobody else wants to call in, we will start to wind the show down. Last call, super chats, gifted memberships, get you on the wheel. Let's see here. I owe Cisco one of these.
Here we go, baby. J-E-T-S, Jets, 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 let's go, baby.
And I'm going to get the wheel all finalized. Last call. You have a minute and a half. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, please. We were 2 away earlier. We're 3 away. Forgive me. We've been 3 away. 2297 we're at. Subscribe to the channel. Let's get to 2300 tonight. It would be a great way to celebrate this evening. We had Connie on, another great Jet legend. And Jets take flight?
Yo. Engines roar when the Jets take flight. Green lights glow in the Jersey night. Skyline lit when the squad ignite. Gangrene rolling, yeah, the Jets take flight. Yo, every show we bring the Jets all through, the speech is clear. Real fan talk, we survive rebuilding years. Seen quarterbacks come, we seen them disappear. Still solid with my team, no bandwagons here. Green stitch to my fibers, won't switch to the Niners. Quick like Vic, I see victims in my visor. Jets loss is heavy, but the pride is never left. Stood 10 toes down when the season felt like death. New season feels like fresh air. New OC and QB, man, I always love the fresh pair. Like the man Jordans that I'm rocking with my Jets gear. Hoodie but no cap out, never play it off, but we gotta get the Jets there. Let's share ideas for this team for this next year. It's fair to think we'll do better in those big chairs. Shit, yeah, hire Dream Bean to run this shit here. Take this playoff streak and make it disappear. Engines roar when the Jets take flight. Green lights glow in the Jersey night. Skyline lit when the squad ignite. Gangrene rolling, yeah, the Jets take flight. Jets take flight.
All right. I gifted 5, and someone near and dear to all of us. They're going to Bill M. Bill, love you, buddy. Saying a prayer for you. My 5 on behalf of Bill, who's on the wheel for 5 entries, went to McCall Edwards, NY Lynn ATL, Friday Jones, B Star, and Wagons Way. So, Bill, you're on the wheel, my friend. Good luck to you. All right. Let's save this. Let's add this. It's going to happen, Bill. He's right. Cisco's right. All right. Let's share the screen. Oh, boy. And we're off, ladies and gentlemen. It's who can be last time on the Nick Shine Show. Nick Shine gifted 5 channel memberships. Black Gypsy said, no, I'm going to gift 1. I'm going to be last. Someone else is going to say, FUBG, you're not last, I'm last. And Black Gypsy's going to rebuttal and say, no, I'm last. Black Gypsy gifted one that went to, where are you? Oh, not now. Let's take that one down. Let's add this one here. Black Gypsy gifted one that went to Carlos Reyes. And we're off, ladies and gentlemen. Now, Cisco Lopez says, I shall be the last one to gift. And his gift went to the big fella. Thank you, Cisco. Thank you, Black Gypsy. Oh, Black Gypsy says, Cisco, how dare you? How dare you? Look at Cisco, Black Gypsy. I'm not even taking it off the screen. I'm going to leave it there so you got to stare at it and go, rubble, and get all angry. I'm waiting. Dun, dun, dun. The suspense is mounting. There we go. Now I'll take it down. Black Gypsy has gifted a channel membership. That went to Sam Massaro. Thank you, Black Gypsy. You are a very nice guy. And Cisco Lopez said, no, I want to be last. And it went to Jet 41. Wow, this is getting quite interesting here. Then, who's gonna? You guys show up, Leany, that we're gonna be throwing punches in the crowd. You got to be a straight up lunatic to show up, Leany. There's no way that any of you would do that. You have to be a certified nut job. Yep. Just like that. Leany gifted one that went to, I don't see the name yet. I got to check YouTube Studio. The names aren't popping up Let's see. Let's change this and see if we get them. All right. The names didn't add there, but they'll add in my YouTube studio. All right. Let me check that. But your gifts did go through. Someone did receive them. It's just YouTube being YouTube. All right. We're going to add Leanie in with that one. We got Black Gypsy again. And I'm going to put Bill M on again with the one that I gifted. Oh, boy. All right. Well, okay. Let me catch up here. All right. Leanie gifted one. I got that. I gifted one. We got that. Black Gypsy gifted another one. Thank you, sir. I got you. And then Leanie again. Love you, Leanie. She's my Leanie. She's also a Mimi. Listen, I did it once, and she didn't yell at me. So, all right. If that's it, it will be time to spin the wheel. I'm going to share the screen. Where are you? Again, this is for a Mark Gastineau autographed jersey. It should be at my house no later than Monday, and then I will send it out. Here we go. I'm going to do this over here. Let's make this a little bigger. There we go. I know some of you are like me with defensive linemen. Size matters. All right. So we've had two Jets legends on the program, Wesley and now Connie. We're going to shuffle it 2 times, and we're going to give away Mark Gastineau autographed jersey. Good luck to everyone. And Leanie's the winner. She's the last one. We're off. Anyone who gifts will be on the wheel for Sunday night. We got a Jets jersey of your choice, and it goes to, it happened, ladies and gentlemen. Suck it, Cisco. I got Bill to win. Congratulations, Bill. We'll be sending the Mark Gastineau jersey to you, my friend. I'm very happy for you. Thank you, everybody who contributed to the channel. I'm happy too. And I know Cisco tried a tremendous amount last week, and that's what put the idea in my head. So, Bill, congratulations. Thank you, everybody, for your efforts. I'm very happy that Bill won. Bill, send me your address, and we'll get that jersey out to you as soon as it comes in. I got to go back to the post office. I got 3 items I got to get out. For those of you who've won jerseys, they're en route. And even Genergy's Knicks jersey's en route. Even Genergy's Knicks jersey. I got her a Knicks finals jersey. Jen, if that doesn't say I love you, I don't know what else does. I mean, that's the most selfless thing that I've done. I ordered a Knicks jersey for you because you're my homegirl. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you guys so much. Also, I made this joke the other day, Jen. I don't know if you were here. Also, ladies and gentlemen, Sunday night's raffle is going to be huge. We have a jersey of your choice, and I will also be raffling off Genergy's home address. Genergy's home address will be going off Sunday night. Gentlemen, get your gifted memberships and super chats in. Charles Gorman just robbed a bank, I heard, in order to get that information. Oh, there we go. It's popping in now. All right. Look at that. A little bit of a delay. Leanie's gift went to 15 years. Black Gypsy's went to Joey Oliver. Mine, Bill M's, went to Matt Dawkins. And then Leanies went to delusional Jets fan. So a little bit of a delay there with YouTube, but we caught everybody up. We got everything. Might be a show Saturday night. I am working on other big guests. I'm swinging big, ladies and gentlemen. Trust me. I might not be talking about it on air anymore until we have it solidified, but your boy is swinging for the fences, trying to make this the summer of shine, trying to make this a great summer for you guys on this channel in terms of Jet content and legends. Keep an eye out for the shorts. Keep an eye out for the videos. Thank you, Kevin. Appreciate that. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I mean, 2 hours with Connie, an hour and a half with Wesley last week. This is amazing. This is absolutely amazing. So, folks, thank you from the bottom of my heart for supporting this channel. Let's see. Did we get new subscribers? We needed 3. If you're watching this show and you haven't subscribed, hit the button. If you got an extra account and you haven't subscribed yet, go switch over and hit the button. And then we can do this together. All right, folks. I'm Nick Shine. You are the awesome chat. Thank you for your support. God bless. Be good to one another. And if you learned anything tonight, if you or anyone that you know needs help, have them reach out to me. And I will do my best to help them and put them on the right path. I've helped many people and look forward to helping more. Like I said earlier, and my catchphrase when I meet people who want to get sober, it's worth it. It's absolutely worth it. You make good decisions, good things happen. And I tell them always, there's a beautiful life out there for you. Go get it. And I'm living proof of that. 3 years and 3 months and 1 day ago, I would have never envisioned my life where it is now. And it's because I made a conscious decision to give up all the bullshit in life. Not the Jets, just the substances that were bad. But folks, I love you guys from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for everything. We'll talk Jets soon. Good night. God bless. Peace out. Take us out, Blitz. Let's go old school.
It's got me.
Gentry cover the football.
Any day, any night, we all shine, bro. First class shine time, the Nick Shine Show. Anytime on YouTube, if you don't know, the Nick Shine Show, the Nick Shine Show. Dim the lights, but it's still bright as Nick time. Day or night, this is his prime, it's Nick Shine. Proud fan, well defined, to get in line. Toe to toe with any show, he only got 9. The best show on YouTube, bro, is easy. We talk Jets all day, please believe me. Subscribe, you just gotta click a family. We not a click in 3D. You can see a beautiful DP. We see through the fake teams and the tea leaves. So we pray for a coach and a QB and hope that we close to the top in the new league. A toast to the host with the most, Nicky.
Who, me?
Any day, any night, we all shine, bro. First class shine time, the Nick Shine Show. Anytime on YouTube, if you don't know, the Nick Shine Show, the Nick Shine Show.
Fantastic.
Here we go, baby. J-E-T-S. Jets, Jets, Jets. Let's go, baby.